I'm Kylie.
And I'm Corey.
And we are Lit Libations. Welcome.
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
What's up, peoples?
Party people. What's up? We're on a Wednesday. It's a little different for us today. And I haven't gotten a drink yet.
Yeah, it is a little different for us. Yeah, well, let's just start there. We're drinking long drink again.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Sponsor us.
Please sponsor us.
Sponsor us.
Miles Teller, please.
If you see this, Miles.
We love long drink. We want
We'll
more.
even read
more.
the Divergent series. We know you want it.
Yeah, we'll read it. And then talk about the movie. Is there only one?
And how much we probably are going to love it compared to the books.
How many movies are there?
3?
Oh, cool.
I
Yeah,
think
we
so.
should do that. That'd be fun.
I'll be honest. I only watched the first 2. I think I got bored. After
I
the first
only
2.
read the first 2 books and I didn't finish off the series.
Maybe I shouldn't have said that. We'll read and watch the movie.
Well,
No, we'll do it. We'll do it.
why not? It'd be fun. It'd be just as
Yeah.
fun as this one.
I think for me, it's getting over the fact that like Shailene Woodley and Miles Teller play like siblings in one movie, and then like a year later or
Wait.
before or something like that, they're like lovers in another movie, and I'm like,
What movie were they lovers
icked
in?
out. I can't remember what it's called. I've watched it though. It's like really serious. It's like a serious like young adult like love drama.
With Fault in
type
Their
deal.
Stars?
No, I do love that though.
Okay, I was like, that's not Miles Teller,
That's
right?
not Miles Teller.
Okay, yeah. I do love him though.
Wait, no, they weren't. Were they? No, they weren't siblings in this. Maybe that's a different actor that they were siblings. No, see, now I'm all fucked up.
Ooh.
The Spectacular Now. No, it's
Oh,
not.
I've
They
never heard
weren't
of that.
siblings. It's the other guy that she played lovers with. That was her sibling in
Will.
Divergent. Yeah. No, you're right.
No,
And
it's not him.
but the thing is they just had like the same 3 actors just like rotating.
Like during that time.
Same like all the movies, just like different role like dynamics with the 3, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Like this movie, your brother, sister.
This
and
movie, your
lovers.
enemies. This
Yeah.
movie, your enemies.
Fun.
And Shailene Woodley was always the girl. She was always the person that was cast as the girl, obviously in it.
Miles Teller was never the girl.
And neither was the other guy. Oh, Angus. No, what's his name?
That's his name in A Fault in Their Stars. Wait,
Oh.
I'm confused. I'm confused.
No, I have to look
Don't
it up
listen
now.
to any of me. Nothing that I'm saying is fact.
It's Ansel Elgort.
Oh yeah, of course.
I do love Shailene Woodley though. I really love
I do
her.
too.
I watched her in The Secret Life of the American Teenager.
I think I saw a scant few episodes of that, but I do see clips on TikTok occasionally. Like,
Oh, I watched it religiously when it came out. Religiously, and the acting is trash.
we
But it
should
was
do a
so,
podcast on that. I don't think there is one, is there? There probably is.
Oh, there definitely is, because it's so unbelievable. It's the most unhinged thing you've
I
ever
think
watched
it's
in
so
your
funny.
entire life.
I do want to watch it for that reason.
Anyways, all this to say that we love Miles Teller and Long Drake. So
Yeah.
I love Miles Teller and his wife. I love the dynamic,
Me
and they're
too.
friends with Nina Dobrev and
Who's Nina Dobrev?
Nina
An
Dobrev
actress?
from the Vampire Diaries.
Oh, we should do Vampire Diary. We should have done that for Halloween.
You have. I will.
I meant like the
will.
books.
Oh.
Like, what do you mean? You will?
There's too many books to do just
How many
for-
are there?
There's a lot.
Like more than 8?
I don't know. Let me
Okay.
look. Oh, I guess there's only
4? Let me guess.
4.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do that.
yeah.
Not in a month, but
Not in a
2
month,
months.
but yeah, easy. Easy peasy lemon squeeze. All right, sorry.
Okay,
Off
today we are doing Specials Part 2 by Scott Westerfeld. We're rounding out the series. We are not doing extras.
Yeah, well, we can do it down the line probably.
Yeah, if anybody wants it.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
It's a different thing, is it not? People say that it's like people talk about it like it's a 4-book series officially.
Yeah.
But from what I thought,
It
it was
was
more of like an
written-
additional like
It is. So it was originally written as a trilogy, and then he just like added this on like way after the fact, probably because the book was received so well, and just called it a part of the trilogy.
Got it. Okay.
I think.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
not really like officially.
It's not,
a part
yeah.
of the children. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Not in my head. Not in my head.
Okay. So it does make sense that we're not reading.
Yeah, it's like in a different city. It's a different characters. It's a different thing. It's like people. It's like this girl trying to get her name higher, like becoming more popular, more famous.
Yeah.
So by
got
doing
it.
like journalism stuff.
But this is
looking for
after-
stories.
So this is after the fact, though.
Yeah, after.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting. Tally is the number 1 famous person.
She
She's
is the
still
number
talked
one.
about.
I love that for Tally Youngblood. Dude, Tally Youngblood is a legend.
She is.
Let's be so
you can't
for
deny
real.
it. You can't deny it.
I'm so glad it's not Shay, and I bet it eats her up to this day.
Right. I was gonna mention that at the end of this because there is this passage about Shay and Ho or Tax doing some media.
You know what? I love Tax and Ho though. I'll never ever not love Tax and Ho.
Heck yeah. All right, let's get into it. Well, first I wanted to say we are doing Haunting Adeline and Rock Paper Scissors next month for October. Our October reads. We're doing Haunting Adeline first. That's by H.D. Carlton, and then Rock Paper Scissors. That's by Alice Feeney.
I'm like so nervous about Haunting Adeline because there's so much controversy on TikTok and Book Talk.
Yeah, I mean, if you read the trigger, go ahead and Google the trigger warnings.
Yeah, we'll display them every episode. I'm not even gonna fuck around with that. I'll display them every single episode.
Yeah, we'll be respectful through it. So
yeah,
hopefully.
Yeah.
It'll be wildly different, but if that might be fun for you to listen along, then awesome.
I was thinking we were gonna like dip our toe into like a dark romance, but I think this is like taking an absolute like like cannonball into the deep end of a dark romance.
I feel like it's like 3/4 of the way to like super super dark.
Okay, sick.
So it's not even like the worst of it out there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
this is just like not normally my cup of tea.
Yeah, no, me either. But it is very popular, so it'll be interesting to like read that and get into the heads of people that like it.
Yeah, but we're gonna get out of our comfort zone a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be fun
in a very interesting way.
I think it'll be fun.
I think it will be too.
Okay, where did we leave off? Tally followed the Crims to their final meeting spot, and a helicopter picked them up along with other pretties, some from other cities. And she decides that she's going to get on that helicopter somehow. Chapter 20, Pursuit. Tally takes off on her hoverboard back toward the direction the helicopter came from, traveling below the level of the cliff, careful not to be seen. She was nervous at how fast she would need to travel. Her hoverboard didn't have typical safety features, so it could burn itself into a shower of white-hot metal. She turns on her infrared to keep an eye on the board, and it was already glowing red. The helicopter catches up to her, but it's already 100 meters in the air, and Tally has to move now. That's so crazy. Like 100 meters, that's so crazy.
Yeah, meters is
it's
crazy.
I really don't know what that means.
Because I really can't even quantify that in my head.
Me either. I should like
go back. I should go back to school probably.
No, I was just gonna say like put both. Like Google.
No, that's far too much work.
I should have.
100 meters is fine. It's very, very tall, I'm assuming.
Anyways, she starts to climb and she's hitting pockets of low air pressure and her board is falling out a little bit at a time. Like turbulence in an airplane, I assume.
Probably, yeah. No, that's a good comparison.
Yeah. But she just pushes harder and hits some calm air directly below the helicopter, like the eye of a storm, like a tornado, like from Twister.
I want to see the new one. Sorry.
Me too.
Yes.
Oh my God, me too. Oh my gosh. She only needs to climb a meter higher, but then the helicopter banks and makes a turn. The wind from the blades knocked Tally off her board and sent her spinning. She felt a tug on her crash bracelets and called her board back to her, and it was so white hot. Its lifting fans were working so hard that when she grabbed onto it, it started to melt her grippy gloves. That's crazy.
Yeah,
and
that is.
Her sneak suit turned itself to armored mode to protect itself and to protect her.
God, I want one of these sneak suits.
Oh my God.
I bet it's like tight.
I know. You can always send it to blend into your surroundings.
Yeah,
so.
I love that.
By the time she righted herself, the chopper was a ways off. She knew she should turn around and wait for the next one, but she couldn't leave Zane. So she pushed forward. Her shoes are melting as well now. Her board is screaming and she gets really close and the board explodes and disintegrates and she makes a desperate leap into the air, but there's no handholds and she starts to fall. She twists her crash bracelets to exhaust their batteries, hoping they catch the metal above her, and they do. And I think she sticks to one of the boards on the underside of the chopper.
That's how I also imagined it. Yes. Yeah.
My notes were a little confusing, so
no, and the imagery is so good, but sometimes there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, what, who, and where, and what?
Yeah, like, and it's like impossible
it does
stuff.
Kind of, yeah, so. Yeah, stuff that you really can't like relate to. So I'm like, okay,
like put into your mind's eye.
Yeah.
So she is now stuck to the bottom of the chopper, and she like rights herself. The helicopter is heading inland, and she checks her stocks. She only has her cutting knife, her crash bracelets, and her sneak suit. Everything else was lost. She revels in the afterglow of her icy trick and thinks even Shay couldn't deny Zane turning special now. But like Zane didn't do anything. He's just like following waypoints.
Yeah.
I don't know what she's thinking.
I don't know what she's thinking either.
An hour later, she can see machines digging into the earth, some sort of building project. But then she sees ugly dorms and a factory belt and taller buildings. And she realizes the new smoke is an entire city, like in an already established city that had joined the rebellion, which is crazy. I did not see that coming.
No, I didn't either.
I always pictured the smoke as just like 20 people.
No, I agree. I think like I was suspicious of it because obviously they had gotten military grade like stuff from somewhere.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, where's that coming from?
What are their motives? Yeah.
Right.
Chapter 21, Hard Landing. Tally decides to jump before the helicopter lands. It's important to not be seen, but there's no river around, and the landing pad is between two buildings surrounded by pedestrians. She sees some bushes by the landing pad, though, aims for them, and lets herself drop. Have you ever seen, oh man, I don't know what movie it is, but it's The Rock and
Kevin Hart?
Is it Kevin Hart?
Or he's in a lot of movies with a lot of people.
Samuel L. Jackson in The Rock.
Oh my God, yeah.
And they're like, aim for the bushes.
The other guys. Yeah. And
it's what Tally does.
And they die
for the bushes.
They completely miss it. The bush is like,
well, you can't. You're jumping off like a 20-story building, and they aim for bushes.
That's a meter wide, probably, depending on how big or small a meter is.
Exactly.
So
there's no way they would have survived.
No
that.
way. That was a crazy thing for these two ginormous men shooting for this tiny little bush. Crazy thing.
Yeah, but then Tally was like, "I'm gonna aim for the bushes." But she doesn't die. She hits the bushes with a crunch, then bounces out in an explosion of leaves, lands on her feet on a slide walk, then jumps on another one, sending her onto her back. And she's like, ouch, ouch, ouch,
ouch,
ouch.
So this is what's so funny.
Ouch making.
Yeah, literally. This is my thing about Scott. Like, I love my guy, Scott. He's a great writer. And I know this is on purpose, I'm sure, but we've never been introduced to slide walks. And he just writes about them like we've been introduced to slide walks. And here's the thing, maybe Tally has seen them, but she's never described them in the books one time ever. Yeah. And he's just like, they're just on slide walks. And I'm like, what the fuck's a slide walk? Can we talk about a slide walk?
I love that. I love how you have to kind of figure stuff out for yourself and you're not like spoon-fed like descriptions of things.
Do you know what? But it feels stupid when all of a sudden you think surge means something other than surgery.
What did you think it meant?
I don't know. I can't even put my mind.
Just like a fad, like a surge.
I don't even. A surge of like trends, like a surge of a trend kind of thing.
That makes sense.
Trendy. Did not think about surgery. So here's my thing. I want to know what a slide spoon feed me slide walk because I don't know where we're at.
Okay, so have you ever been to the airport?
I know what it is now. I got it from context clues, but Jesus.
See, that's enough. I think I love that. Okay. A middle pretty chides Tally for her reckless stunt, and Tally gets annoyed and snaps at him, and he snaps back at her and then walks away. And Tally's like, what the fuck? Why was he yelling at me? Also, why wasn't he scared of me? And that's super annoying because everyone's scared when they see specials.
Yeah.
She tries to ping for Shay, but she's either not in range or is blocking Tally. Tally is worried this city might just be a refueling spot, so she heads back to the chopper and notices the new pretties around her. Oh, she's like looking at the new pretties, and they seem to have costume surges on.
Costumes. See, like that.
Yeah.
It's what? Well, I guess it is a costume surge because she's saying that they like some of them have like different skin like tones and colors.
Right. Yeah.
So those probably would be more surgical.
Yeah.
In nature.
One had pale skin, red hair, and freckles, and it was like shocking to her. Another had way too dark of skin and way too obvious of muscles. But she's relieved. I mean,
he was really buff, and that was crazy.
That was like hard to look at. But she's relieved the costume surge trend might help her blend in. A pretty falls into step beside Tally, and Tally asks where the bash is to see if she could pass for a local. The pretty is like, bash? Do you mean party? Take your pick. There's mountains of them. And Tally's like, okay, sure. But which one is all the costume surge for? And she's like, costume surge? The pretty says, oh, did you just come off the chopper with a face like that? You should go hang with the other new arrivals until you can get a feel for things. They're at the Overlook tonight, according to Diego. And Diego is the city they're in. And I didn't know that it was San Diego probably until this reread.
Wait,
I just never
it's
thought about
San Diego?
I assume, right? Or near it.
Oh my God, I'm the dumbest girl that's ever lived because I would never have put that together.
Right? I assume they traveled south from like Seattle
Ish
for
area,
hundreds of miles. Like,
yeah.
San Diego's down there.
100% makes sense, but I am baffled.
But they also traveled inland for a while. So
They
maybe
just
it's
dropped
like,
the sand?
yeah, maybe San Diego is like in ruins like Seattle, and then their city is like where Tally's is compared to
That is
the Rusty ruins.
Crazy.
And that's my
like
guess.
San Diego is like doesn't it mean like Saint Diego? Isn't it supposed to be like a religious type deal thing? Like have origins, religious origins, like the name?
I don't know. I have.
So just like drop the sand.
Yeah, now
Make
we're
it
just
Diego.
Diego. Maybe because it's a different city, though. I don't know.
No, it probably is. No, you're
know.
you're probably right. It probably is San Diego. It makes the most amount of
or
sense.
outside of, more inland of San Diego.
San Diego is like decently inland. It's not like right on the ocean, is it? It is right on the water. I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah, so maybe it's just like.
But she didn't
a little
say,
more inland.
Yeah, it's got to be more inland because she didn't say anything about water.
Yeah, well, they were on the water when they got picked up, and then the helicopter flew inland.
Yeah, but they would still be on the water.
I don't know.
No, you're right. I think you're right. I do think you're right. I do think it's San Diego.
It's interesting.
I'm just
how
trying
they
to wrap my head around
He sneaks
it.
those things in. We don't notice. Anyways.
Yeah, I'm not the target audience for these types of books.
But we're having fun with them.
Yeah.
Okay, so this pretty that she's talking to has tiny video screens on her fingernails. I thought that was a cool little detail.
Some of the surges were crazy.
Yeah, somebody has snakes on their for pinkies.
Yep. I was just about to say
I wouldn't like that.
I would hate that.
No, get that away from me.
I don't even think it would look that good. Like I'm not trying to like dog on the surges.
Shame
but
them.
I'm not trying to
Surge
surge shame.
No shirt.
But that's a crazy
Surge
it's a
shame.
crazy surge.
Yeah. That is a crazy one.
This is not bubbly making.
No, it's pretty crazy.
It's not pretty making.
But Tally heads back toward the helicopter and uses a gap in the bushes she just destroyed to see what they're doing. The pretties, Zane and company. Zane is looking the happiest she's ever seen, and the Crims grab their boards and congratulate each other. Then they head off toward one of the two buildings nearby. One is town hall and the other is a hospital, and they are going to the hospital, which makes sense. The city would want to test them for diseases and cure them of their lesions, is what Tally's thinking. The new smoke is so much bigger than they could have ever dreamed, but what was to be done? Cities don't mess with each other.
I was confused about the curing of the lesions because didn't they already take the cure? So what is?
Yeah.
So
maybe some of them didn't. Maybe they didn't have enough pills to go around. But Zane had that huge bag.
Yeah. My thought is maybe it's not as efficient.
Maybe there were pretties from other cities there, like in the mix. So maybe they weren't cured yet. I don't know. Chapter 22, Random Town. Tally wandered the city, marveling at how uglies and pretties and middle pretties and littlies were all mixed together. People had crazy outfits and skin colors and tiny snakes for fingers, which I just talked about. It was clear that most people did not have the lesions, and also she was having a hard time guessing how old people were supposed to be. It's like they let some people blur all the life stages together, which I thought was interesting. She did run into some bubbleheads who must have elected to keep their lesions, which that was me.
That would have been me.
Yeah.
I saw Jake Shane on TikTok, and he had just watched The Uglies, and he said, this might not be like a very popular opinion, but if someone said, hey, I'm going to give you a surgery and make you pretty, and like you basically get to live out your days like clueless and bubbly, but absent-minded, he's like, I'm the first one to sign up.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's literally what I commented, and I was like, that's what we've said in every single one of our podcasts. Yeah, make me pretty. I don't want to think ever again.
That's so funny because I have seen a lot of TikToks with people saying that, and they're like, it doesn't sound so bad. I'm like, you're not wrong.
What are the downfalls? The lesion? And then sign me up.
Yeah, and then the other people are like, the movie didn't cover it very well. You really have to read the book to get the nuance. And
we read the book,
and we're like, make me pretty.
I still stand by it today.
Yeah,
to this day.
To this day.
To this day.
Tally tuned into the city's feeds, which was just a bunch of squabbling and debating about the city expansion, taking in runaways, and the standards of beauty. That night, she went to the Overlook, which seemed to be a mixer where new arrivals could meet and decompress, was my understanding.
I agree.
She wonders if she'll see Zane and what the hospital did to him. And if he's exactly the same, Tally would be able to tell him how her journey had changed her. She felt like the wild had rewired her brain.
At least a little bit, for sure.
Tiny bit.
Yeah.
A standard new pretty introduces himself. A standard new pretty. Oh, I guess he didn't have any like weird surges on. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
A standard new pretty introduces himself to her as John, and he criticizes Tally's name and appearance and advises her to lose the scars and maybe go with a less scary look. And she's like, John? That's such a weird name.
To be honest, this would piss me off. And I don't even have like the little overinflated ego thing that she's got.
She gets pissed and lifts him by the jacket and berates him. And then Fausto comes in through the skintenna. And what did he say? Something like,
he's like,
calm down there, Tally.
Yeah, drop that pretty.
We have it now with a southern accent.
I'm so glad we have Fausto back. The love of my life.
Hello.
Oh, I love you, Fausto.
She sees him and he's smiling and happy and special. Chapter 23, Reunion. Tally is so happy to see Fausto and bombards him with questions, but she asks what's up with this random place? How did this happen? He takes her outside so as not to be overheard. He says this city, Diego, has always been different. They've always had less bubbleheads. Even the teachers didn't have lesions, which is crazy that the teachers in her city had lesions. Why would you put them
insane.
In teachers?
They're like
molding minds.
Well, I mean, it makes sense though. It does make sense if you want to control a
them.
population to make them think that being bubbly and having the surgery is a good thing.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh my gosh, I love that kind of.
I can't believe I'm just surprised about who would elect to be a teacher after how we know that that pretties look at uglies, and so they're going to be in a classroom full of littlies and or uglies.
Yeah,
and like that's their profession.
By them.
Yeah.
They're like, oh my god, I can't wait for you guys to get your surgeries.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that like maybe some of the comments are like things that they're thinking in their head that would just be like basically like ugly shaming.
Yeah, but you can't say that out loud.
Maybe they did though. Probably.
Maybe they probably did.
She never said. She's not like, my third grade teacher told me that I have squinty fucking eyes and I'm ugly as shit.
That'd be so funny. Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
So many skits we can do on TikTok.
There's endless amount of skits.
Dang, we need to do it. Okay. The teachers didn't have lesions and they don't have any kind of special circumstances in Diego. So when the pills started coming in, there was no one to stop it. The change happened so fast, like within a month. The Smokies didn't exactly take over. The authorities are still in charge, but the city is kind of still falling apart. He talks about clear cutting and expanding and population growth so casually, it makes Tally's stomach sink. Tally can see Fausto is different. His brain isn't special, and he doesn't hide it. He pulls her aside and tells her that as they were running away from the new smoke after Zane's tooth tracker incident, he and the other Crims agreed that if they were caught and turned special, they had given their consent for Maddie to experiment on them to try and cure them from being special. And Tally is pissed that Fausto, who let Maddie, who fucked Zane up, experiment on him. He's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, you saw what happened to Zane. That was Maddie's fault.
Yeah. Man.
According to Tally.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I can see where she's coming from, but also...
She's doing it. Okay, here's the thing. She's doing the same thing that Maddie was doing, blaming Tally for Az. So they're just doing it to each other now. And I think, I'm sure that in Tally's mind, she hasn't said it explicitly, but I would assume that in Tally's mind, she feels like Maddie's was like tit for tat. Mm-hmm. Like, you took my man, I'm taking yours. But obviously we know that that's like not, or maybe not that she did it explicitly, but she definitely wasn't upset about it.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so crazy. Parallels. Tally is like, oh my God, Fausto, I can't believe you did that. You let Maddie do that. And then his hand darted toward her neck, but she caught him before he could inject her with something. And then his other hand came up with another needle and she fights him off and knocks him around. He wasn't as fast as her. He was different. Then like a dozen people around her start firing arrows at her, all needle tipped. So she runs back to the party to use the randoms as cover. She runs to the cliff the Overlook was named for and jumps off. Fausto was begging her to stop. And are you crazy? You don't have a bungee jacket on. But she had her crash bracelets. They caught her 5 meters from the ground and jerked her shoulders so hard she almost passed out and she couldn't lift her arms when she touched the ground. Fausto asked if she was okay through the skintenna and she said, what do you think? and turned it off, guessing that's how they'd found her in the first place. She wonders if they got to Shay as well. She climbs a tree without her arms. She just walks up.
She does climb the tree without.
She walks up the branches. And she can see someone on a hoverboard scanning the trees, and she's relieved that she's the invisible one now. Nanos are going to work repairing her muscles, and she sees other Smokies hitting bushes with clubs looking for her, like hoping to scare her out like she's a rabbit. The closest one was still scanning the trees. She had infrared goggles on, and she's like, good luck. She knows her sneak suit will hide her. But then the Smoky stops and stares right at her. She looks down at herself, and there's a small rip in the seam of her sneak suit on her shoulder, and Tally can't even bring up her left hand to cover it. Oh, she's so injured.
She's so injured. But the nanos, she said the nanos will like heal her within like a couple of hours.
That's so crazy. Like, are the nanos in her bloodstream just like ready to work whenever?
I'm assuming.
I love that. They're like white blood cells, but like nanos.
I feel like she's got like the healing power of like a fae.
Ooh, that's cool.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. The Smoky says, hey, I think I got something. Baseball size. And the answering voice is David. And he's like, I think he's like, oh, it's probably just a squirrel, you dumb fucking idiot. Like, have you ever thought about that?
He's definitely not courting her. Okay.
No, yeah, that wasn't friendly or flirtatious.
That was not flirtatious whatsoever. Tally's like, yeah, thank God.
But before anyone can investigate further, someone says, they're coming, and the Smokies bail. Tally is confused as to who the Smokies are afraid of here in Diego. And she sees yellow uniforms and realizes it's just Diego wardens trying to prevent a kidnapping at a party. It's funny. Her version of events is so funny. She tries to cover the hole in her suit again with her hand, and it's so painful she almost passes out again. And she loses her footing, falls out of the tree, hits every branch on the way down, and then she literally can't move. And the wardens take that as her surrendering, and then they like arrest her or whatever, or like kidnap her. Like,
I would say arrest. Because technically she's illegal in their
society.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she doesn't know that. Chapter 24, Violations of Morphology. Tally woke up in a padded cell with no doors. Her muscles are sore and achy, but strong. She deduces she must have been unconscious for some time for her muscles to have repaired themselves, or for the nanos or whatever. She's wearing a flimsy hospital gown with flowers, and that's super embarrassing. So she crumples it up and throws it across the room. And she'd
leaving her naked.
She'd rather be naked. I thought that was so funny.
That was crazy to me. I was like, she's just standing there butt ass naked.
It's like in a room with no walls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Padded cell. She punches the wall as hard as she can and decides she won't be escaping using her body because she can't get through that. A voice tells her that she's being held under controlled observation as a possible danger to herself and others. Tally is outraged that she was chased and attacked with arrows, and she's the one locked up. The voice tells her that they're looking into the incident and apologizes for the rogue group of people that attacked her. They usually don't do that. Then they tell her that she's not locked up because of that. It has more to do with all of her morphological violations. They're like, Tally, your body is a super dangerous weapon. Also, there's artificial structures on your brain designed to change your behavior. Do you ever suffer from sudden flashes of anger or euphoria, counter-social impulses, or feelings of superiority? Finally, like, we get like
understanding,
the confirmation, like they did do something to her brain. What did they say? Artificial structures on your brain. So that has to be like a different version of the lesions.
Yeah, maybe like something that instead of dulls it, enhances it.
Yes. So yeah, that's
crazy.
That is crazy. Tally just gets angry, and they tell her their cities are in conflict because Tally City does dangerous surgeries, which goes against the new standard at Diego. So they call it the new standard. They talk about that a lot. They tell Tally that she can't leave. Like, no way, no how. It's against policy, against morality. Her body is a dangerous weapon and is illegal. And she's like, how can I be illegal?
I'm a person.
That's crazy. Yeah. They tell her it's not her fault. It's your city's authorities' fault. They think they sent her to disrupt things in Diego, and no way she can leave with her current body. They tell her she can leave Diego, but not like that. They will have to alter her body. We don't have to touch your brain, but sorry, girl, we're going to have to operate.
And we can leave you with the inflated ego.
Yeah.
You're fine with that. But like none of the cool stuff that goes along with that.
Yeah. And they don't need informed consent.
That's crazy.
That is crazy because she's illegal. She gets frustrated and panicky and starts punching the walls and hurting herself, thinking they'll come in to stop her. and she'll be able to make her escape. But instead, they use gas to knock her out. Duh. Like, you're a dangerous weapon.
Yeah.
She's like, they're going to have to come in and then I'll get them.
And they're scared of her. Like,
Yeah.
terrified.
I would be too.
Yeah.
She's scary.
But it's not like she's like a dangerous weapon that's just like, it's not like she's like a vampire in like a system.
She's gonna mindlessly attack people.
Right. Where
Yeah.
she's just like feeding off the fucking blood of innocent people. Like she doesn't even, she's never even killed.
Right.
So truly, like she's not, I mean, she has dangerous like components to her, but she's not like.
Yeah, she's not a threat to society at the moment.
Yeah.
She's not going to go out and just start murdering people.
Right.
Yeah.
She's like the Ripper. Like.
Oh, gosh. Before she relents to the gas, she sets her internal alarm clock to ping every 10 minutes and then she loses consciousness.
Chapter 25, Voices. Tally was feeling nice and relaxed. For the first time, she didn't feel fury or frustration.
Damn.
When she opened her eyes, she saw clouds. They weren't as sharp and intense like they were usually, and she liked that. She tried to imagine the clouds as dragons, but she couldn't conjure the image, which is super ironic.
Yeah, why would you?
Because she keeps dreaming about dragons.
Dr. Cable being dragon. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Weird.
that's her leader now.
Yeah.
So she's like, I want to see a dragon, probably because it's her comfort zone, because that's her
She's
leader.
like, where's my mom?
Where's my mommy?
Dr. Cable's my mom.
Where's my dragon mommy?
More of a mom than
That's
Ellie.
Yeah. Can't disagree there. So she imagined her friends, Zane and Shay. They were better to think of anyways. And then she closed her eyes and a ping went off and woke her up. She didn't know why they kept going off, but she greeted them like a friend trying to speak to her, trying to check in on her. She heard the doctors around her worry about whether or not she was waking up. She was kind of stirring. Like she'd always greet them. So like when the pings went off, she's like, hi, friend.
Hello.
Yeah.
And they're like, I think she's talking.
Is she okay? What's happening? Please don't let her wake up. But one of the doctors assured them that whatever they gave her to subdue her was too strong and like wouldn't.
You're like, don't worry. We gave her a lot of strong stuff. It'll be fine.
Tally decided it would be fun not to move and play games with the doctor. Like they think I'm going to move, so I'm not moving a fucking muzzle.
That would be fun.
And then the ping went off again. Tally was like, what the fuck? Why does this keep happening? Like, it's kind of getting a little annoying because I'm trying to like live in my peaceful bubble.
Yeah.
So she went to go check to see why they were going off by checking her internal software. And she knew there was something that she was meant to be doing, but she just couldn't remember what. She just wanted to lay there. It was just too nice, too peaceful. So she turned off the alarm. She's like, fuck this. Unfortunately.
Relatable.
Yeah, right. She's like, I want to go back to sleep. Unfortunately, this like feeling was still nagging at her. What had she forgot? So she switched on her Skintenna feed because if anyone would know what she was meaning to do, what she was supposed to be doing, it would be the Cutters, of course.
Yeah, her best friend.
Yeah. And Shayla, Miss Shayla, started speaking to her through the feed.
Oh, shit.
She's like, oh my God, she's around. She asked if Tally was okay. And Tally was like, I'm just so sleepy, you know. At that moment, the docs also heard her speaking. And at the same time, Shay and the docs were like, oh no.
Yeah.
Shay told her to try and wake up and that she would come and get her. At the same time, the hospital staff was all running around trying to put Tally back to sleep with like other drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So metabolism is metabolizing too fast.
Yeah. And they did mention this too at some point. They were like, you've seen her scans. Like, you know how fast she metabolizes things. That's why they were so worried she was going to wake up. But they're like, well, we put enough in her that we could put down 3 bears at one time.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
I don't
a
know if they
lot.
said the 3 bears thing, but like, that's my interpretation of it.
I see it. I could see it.
Tally then at that moment recalled that she was supposed to be escaping this place. She was being put to sleep to have a despecialization surgery. She asked Shay for help. Shay told her that they were on their way and that Tally needed to wake up.
Oh.
She also needed to turn off her Skintenna because the city might be listening in. The doctors gave her something even stronger and Tally was again consumed by sleep.
Dang.
Chapter 26, Light. Tally bursted into consciousness and it was not gentle.
Oh no.
It was very aggressive,
Shocking.
abrasive. Yeah. She bolted upright and noticed Shay trying to undo the straps at her ankle. Shay had stuck her with something that had counteracted the sedative. So effectively, that was making her very icy.
Yes.
You know, in that moment. Probably like
naloxone.
Yeah. What is it?
Naloxone.
Is that what it is?
Like, that's the reversal for opioids.
Oh, I thought it was epinephrine. But it probably isn't that because I'm not a doctor. I just watch Grey's Anatomy.
I don't remember. I don't remember. I did learn about this in vet tech school.
Yeah, that would make more sense because
that's for like opioids, but you don't get sedated with opioids. Maybe.
No, it could be. I feel like that makes more sense than my
adrenaline.
Thing. Yeah.
Maybe a both. Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Get her awake and then get her like moving.
Because I think she did like stuff her with 2 of them, but probably sense. Just to counteract how much was in her system. Yeah. She was in a room with a ton of surgical tools, and a couple of surgeons were laying unconscious on the floor. It hit her why she was there. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be here to be despecialized. Shit. Tally filled with rage and ripped the IVs out of her arm. As soon as Shay had her straps undone, she jumped out of bed in like a ready to pounce position. Like she had like knees bent, like like lips curled, like arms cocked.
Yeah, like a cat, like ready to jump.
Yes. Yeah, like
yeah, like shoulders shrugged.
Her back was arched.
Tail was swishing.
Ears
are back.
Yeah, hair was standing up straight. Shay handed her a sneak suit since Tally was put back into like a frilly hospital gown.
Oh, thank gosh.
With like a bunch of like
flowers.
Weird shit. Yeah, flowers on it. Tally put the sneak suit on and Shay told her to keep it down and make sure her skintenna was still off. That's weird.
Red flags, I feel like.
Red flags, 100%. She told her to turn the sneak suit on to like the color of Scrubs, like the look of Scrubs.
Oh, yeah.
And Tally expressed how surprised she was that Shay had come for her. Shay told her that she hated her sometimes more than anyone else before, but maybe that's why she kept coming back for her.
Oh my God, that's so toxic.
Yeah.
That's so toxic.
Well, do you know they say that there's a fine line between hate and love?
Yeah.
And so maybe that's what it is.
Oh my God.
She hates her because she loves her.
Oh.
Maybe not in like a romantic way, but just like in a like, a
friend way.
Exactly.
It's still sweet.
Maybe in a romantic way. Who knows? Before they left, Tally tried to tell Shay about Fausto, but Shay said that she knew. But they had to go to the roof because the Cutters were waiting. Something big was coming, bigger than the Smokies.
Oh no.
Then an alarm rang out loud.
Oh my gosh.
Loud. She grabbed Tally and ran out the door. They barreled through the hallways, running into people as they went. A cluster of wardens yelled at them to stop. Shay turned her sneak suit to black and plunged into them. Shay managed to subdue all but 2 wardens by the time Tally had gotten there.
Damn. Wait, so she still got a special body?
Yeah. So that left the 2 wardens to Tally. And Tally snapped the wrist of one warden.
Oh, no.
And Shay was like, hey, okay, you don't have to break them.
Yeah. They're literally like so fragile. We just push them aside.
Literally, it's like very easy. They ran up the stairs and onto the roof. Tally wondered where Shay had been this whole time. How long had the Cutters been in Diego? When they reached the roof, no one was there yet. Tally looked down and saw people streaming out of the hospital. Tally asked what the hell was going on. This couldn't all be because of them, because of Shay and Tally escaping.
Right. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Coincidence.
Shay explained that she knew all about Fausto. She got there a week ago and tracked his skintenna. Tally confirmed that Shay knew that he wasn't special anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
She hesitated and said she wasn't sure Tally was right about that. That's when Tally noticed that Shay had a softer look in her eyes. She had also taken the cure or had been cured. I don't know if she'd taken a cure, but whatever. Sure. You get it. She'd been cured.
Yeah.
Tally started to freak out, telling Shay not to come near her. She could hear the weakness in Shay's voice. She said she didn't want Shay to make her weak like her.
Oh my God.
Shay said she didn't need Tally like her.
Like, Tally, listen to yourself.
Yeah, she's like, I don't need you like us. The cure isn't what you need, basically.
Yeah.
Tally ran, but Shay shouted, stop her. Faceless forms came for her at all angles. It had all been a trap. Shay didn't want her skintenna on because she didn't want Tally to hear them plotting against her. Tally put up a good fight, but they were able to subdue her very easily because there was just too many of them. They outnumbered her.
I want her cured.
Exactly. Ho and Tax pulled off their hoods, and that's when Tally realized that Shay had gotten all of the cutters.
Damn.
Shay told her that when Fausto gave her the cure, she asked the cutters to meet her halfway to Diego, and she cured each one of them along the way.
She probably did it really aggressively too. It was just like, stop.
Yeah, I think the way that I pictured it is like as they were traveling to Diego very slowly, that she would take one at a time to the side and cure them.
That's
that way.
Like, can we talk for a minute about your performance?
Yeah,
as Cutter,
because she said she did it one by one.
Yeah. Oh,
so that's how I kind of
picture
picture
it. That'd be a good scene.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's badass. Shay is kind of a badass special.
She is. She does a lot of cool things. It's just
she's very reckless.
Yeah, and the way we see it, it's just not as like cool or positive as like Tally's actions.
Oh, I think Shay. I don't like Shay, but I think like you put Tally up against Shay, both like with their special minds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think Shay beats Tally 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah,
maybe 8 out of 10 times. 10
I
out of 10
agree.
is
I
aggressive.
agree.
Yeah,
I feel like Shay just has the skills and like the talent, and Tally is constantly having to learn those things.
Yeah.
And Shay already has it.
Yeah. I don't know how or why or what.
Yeah.
Well, no, Tally, I think, is always weighed down by the burden of her
boyfriends
and her care at the back of her mind.
Yeah.
Like I genuinely feel like Shay, like,
she doesn't
has
have
never truly cared for someone the way that Tally has cared for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
that.
the difference. Like even Shay caring for Tally, like it's toxic. It's not like deep. It's not like
and it's not for Tally. It's kind of just for Shay.
It's always been for Shay.
Yeah.
And also they only have been friends for like a couple of like months, truly.
Like 6 months.
Literally.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's
I just don't
crazy.
feel like she cares for people the way that
Makes
Tally
sense.
cares for people. I think that's what weighs Tally down in a sense. She apologizes to Tally for the Smokies jumping her. She said that the cure isn't what Tally needed, which is what I said before.
Oops.
Tally shouted for them to let her go then. Shay gave them the orders to release her because she knew Tally would help them anyways. Shay said that Dr. Cable was coming. There was no point in running. After the armory, no one believed that the Smokies or the Crims were behind it. They assumed it was Diego. They were coming to repay the attack in kind.
Oh no, that's not good.
No.
That's not good.
And it was all Tally and Shay's fault.
Damn.
They were too icy. They were too special.
Too icy.
Far too icy.
Who let them get like this?
Who did it?
Dr. Cable.
Dr. Cable. Before Tally could even try and deny this, she saw the hover cars.
Damn.
Dr. Cable had been given control of the military, which is terrible.
Who did that? What powers?
The government.
Gave her that
The government
power.
did. The powers that be give her the power. Tally City had come to attack Diego.
Damn.
They had started a war that they needed to stop. For now, they needed to limit the damage as much as possible that would happen that night. Before Tally could express any ounce of disbelief, the Armada began to open fire.
Damn. Like just that's crazy.
That is crazy. Part 3, Unmaking War, Chapter 27, Payback. Cannon fire shot through the air, rattling the ground and battering Tally's ears as they exploded. They were attacking Town Hall. Within minutes, Tally could see holes in the buildings with fire coming through like a lit jack-o'-lantern.
That's a good imagery.
Halloween. Tally could hear the cries of people in the streets. That's such a... I'm sorry. It's such a contrast.
That was
Like a lit jack-o'-lantern. And then Tally could hear their cries.
people screaming and dying.
Screaming on the street. Shay told her it was their fault this war was happening. Town Hall was empty at night, but they needed to get the people out and away from the hospital.
Oh no.
Tally was frozen for a moment, unable to believe what she was seeing. But she broke from her paralysis and jumped on her hoverboard, following Shay over the edge of the roof. Everything in the city was pure chaos. Tally knew there would be casualties tonight, like without even a second thought. Like people were going to die.
Nothing you can do about that.
Yeah. The cutters were already in action, doing their part to help herd people to safer areas. Their sneak suits were set to yellow and black like Diego's wardens, so that way people would recognize them as like an authority figure and would do what they say, kind of thing.
Brilliant.
I agree. Tally was overwhelmed at first, unsure of where she was supposed to jump in to help. Then she saw a group of littlies lining up by the helicopter pad, landing pad. And she was like, Dr. Cable would attack the helicopter since it was Diego's Rangers who helped runaways to the old Smoke
Yeah,
and
of course she would. Yeah.
to now the new Smoke, aka Diego.
Why are Littlies there though? Are they trying to get on a helicopter?
No, I was confused about that at first. I just think that like that is a place away from the hospital.
Evacuation route.
Exactly. And like maybe if things go even worse, that they can evacuate them on the helicopters.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of thing.
Right.
She zoomed over to them and told the minders, which I think is just like
I imagine it's like drones or something.
is that what that is? I thought it was like people.
I don't know.
The way that she talked about them, they were like
Oh, maybe like they're teachers or whatever. They're called minders or they're caretakers. Or...
See, this is the kind of shit that I'm talking about.
We don't know.
This is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. This is the context clues were not good enough with this.
No,
I was so
minders,
confused.
that is confusing.
She told the minders. She told the minders to get the Littlies out of there. But they had no idea why the war was raging, and she hadn't set her suit to the warden black and yellow, so they didn't recognize her as an authority figure.
So it does have to be like some sort of AI. I don't know.
Well, I think even people would be confused. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is my evacuation protocol. Think about like if you were in a like,
they'd be like, "Who the hell are you?"
Yeah,
coming
exactly.
in here on a hoverboard.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I wish she would have just like switched it to the warden uniform and been like, "Okay."
Yeah,
so sorry about that.
That's what she did. She changed her suit and then told them that the helicopters could be a target for an attack, but they still didn't move.
Okay.
Just then, she saw a hovercraft from the Armada break from the formation and was heading straight for them.
Oh no!
Exactly. She yelled at the minders to get to the other side of the hospital. Get the Littlies, get all of them to the other side of the hospital.
Run, move.
And then she flew toward the hovercraft. She had no idea how she was going to be able to stop it, but she knew she had to try because this war was her fault somehow. It was kind of Shay's fault. It's fine. It was Shay's idea. It was Shay's idea to break into the armory. It's fine.
But it's also, we learned the truth later.
Yeah. Still, it was Shay's fault. It's still Shay's fault. She changed her suit to camouflage and set her infrared vision. Then she flew towards Town Hall so that the hovercraft would be confused by the heat of the explosions.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? So they wouldn't sense her body heat.
Oh, yeah. So they didn't see her coming?
I feel like the hovercrafts are being flown by technology and not by people.
Okay, yeah. I can see that.
Or like specials with infrared, I suppose.
Or like unmanned crafts.
Yeah, that's what I assumed by the context clues.
It's got to be, right? Like, why would you put people in there when you could just fly them remote?
That's true. That's very true. Town Hall's hover struts were beginning to fail at this point, and the building was going to be brought down to the ground very soon. Tally pulled level with the hovercraft, and she looked for any weaknesses in the flying machine. There were a few scratches on the body to show that it had easily gotten past the first line of Diego's defenses before it was even had reached the city, which I don't even know what defenses those would be.
Bears,
but
maybe?
It was very... Did you say bears?
Yeah, they're like jumping out of the air, like scratching them. They're scratches. I don't know. I mean, obviously I'm joking, but like I don't know what would scratch it.
I just would have thought like even like guns would be probably
just like
the way that they're
bouncing off.
Yeah. Just scratching.
Makes sense. I mean, you would think they would have better anti-aircraft weaponry.
No, I would agree.
Yeah.
But so they do explain that kind of later though, with the terms of like the army, I guess, or like not the army, but the defenses in each city.
Okay, all right.
The hovercraft was getting close to the landing pad, and the Littlies were not clear yet, even though they were moving at this point. The minders were finally like, okay, I guess we'll move.
I do see like a bunch of explosions. The town hall across the street is like going down. So I do see that.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a threat or what. She shot down closer to the hovercraft, hoping to distract it. The hovercraft shot out its metal claws, and Tally tried to maneuver up, but she was too slow. The claws caught her front fan of the hoverboard, sending her up and over the machine, and she landed on the machine's back.
Okay. I
So,
follow.
And she's like kind of like sliding down it, and she grabs the first handhold that that she could find to stabilize herself on the back of it. But her weight made it tip wildly, but then it was stabilized. So I'm assuming that the hovercraft isn't very big.
Yeah. That's
by the way that is
in the movie. They're huge.
They're huge in the movie.
Yeah,
but maybe there's different ones compared to when it's a manned hovercraft.
Yeah,
or when it's an unmanned hovercraft.
Like a military hovercraft.
Yeah.
Aimed
so
for
maybe
attack.
that's different.
Yeah.
That's my thoughts.
Okay. I'm there.
Her hoverboard was ruined and spinning wildly like a throwing knife through the air. Little cameras popped up on the hovercraft trying to find out where Tally was because it knew that it was on its back because of the weight.
Oh, yeah.
But it couldn't find her. The hovercraft knew something was wrong, but she was right in its blind spot. Tally used her weight to shift the hovercraft towards Town Hall.
She drove it.
Literally, it was like riding a very large, hard to control hoverboard, but Tally managed to lead it away from the littlies and the landing pad.
Good for her.
Yeah, so
amazing.
Good. She did a 10 out of 10 job.
Wow.
Town Hall grew nearer and the littlies were now clear of the landing pad, so finally they were safe. All she had to do at this point was jump off without the hovercraft spotting her, because if it did, it could shoot her down.
Right.
When they were about 10 meters, which I couldn't tell you how far that is, off the ground, Tally jumped and grabbed one of the metal claws. And she used her weight basically to tip, as she was falling, to tip the hovercraft, forcing it to completely go wild through the air.
Oh.
Careen out of control. And then crash into the lowest level of Town Hall, disappearing into a cloud of smoke. And then Tally was caught by her crash bracelet before she hit the ground. So she was completely safe.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't this all just insane?
Yeah. Yeah. I love it though. You're doing a great job.
Oh my God, thanks.
I can see it happening in my head.
Now, when the hovercraft crashed into Town Hall, it disappeared in a big cloud of smoke and flame. The smoke and flame was close enough to Tally to where it swept across Tally, and it caused her sneak suit to get burned in different patches.
Oh shoot!
Yeah, so it was
really close
completely ruined. Yeah, and it also burned her hair, which was not important, but I had to put that in there.
No, yeah.
Tally tried to run back to the hospital, but Town Hall was collapsing all around her. So she turned on her skintenna and called out for help from Shay. Tax and Shay had come to get her, and they flew down, and each of them grabbed her by the wrist to fly her out. They asked if she was okay, but Tally was flying backwards. So they were forwards. She was getting carried one arm by one arm by the other. Do you see what I'm saying?
On hoverboards?
She was flying. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? So
oh yeah. Between them?
Between them.
And then
one had one wrist, she had the other, and she was
it.
backwards looking at Town Hall collapsing.
Oh my gosh.
And
I love it.
She saw that as it's collapsing, a giant cloud of smoke and debris was rushing towards them at very fast, too fast for them to outrun. And she's like, "Can you guys go any fit?" And right in the middle of her sentence, the debris cloud knocked into them, throwing Shay and Tax from their boards, and obviously just Tally was knocked around a little bit. Yeah. She wasn't on a board, but she was just knocked down. And they landed hard on the ground, rolling to a stop. But that's okay, because they were all okay. Just a little,
Yeah. They were far,
coughing
far
from
enough
the
away
smoke.
where it didn't really hurt them.
Yeah. They noticed at this point that the shooting had gone quiet and the hovercrafts were in a formation overhead of the city.
Uh-oh.
Tally asked what they were doing now, and Tax and Shay told Tally that Dr. Cable doesn't want to destroy Diego. She wants to turn it into a city like the one that they live in. When things fall apart, she will swoop in and take over. Tally was in disbelief. Cities don't just take each other over.
Yeah, what the hell?
Quote, "Not normally, Tally, but don't you see? Runaways running free, the new system out of control. Now the city government in ruins. This is a special circumstance."
Oh my gosh.
Craziness.
Yeah.
Chapter 28, blame. The halls of the hospital. So this is the times where I hate myself. Where
I hate myself.
Where I genuinely cannot stand me as a person. The halls of the hospital were filled with glass because the windows had been blown out in all the nearby buildings, including the hospital, because of all the explosions and things.
Yeah, that have happened. Just
sound waves and such,
etc., etc.,
etc., etc. Tally and the Cutters were going through each room of the hospital to check for anyone who had potentially been left behind. Tally looked outside. 2 helicopters were spraying foam to snuff out the fire.
Love that.
She thought about escaping now. She knew where the hoverboards were. She could take one and head home. But after last night, she felt like she couldn't. For Tally, there wasn't anywhere to go. Dr. Cable could have come for the new developments to show that expanding into the wild was wrong. But attacking the city like she did was not okay.
Yeah.
Had they forgot the lessons the Rusties had taught them so quickly? I mean, quickly, it's been like 300 years, but it's neither here nor there.
Well, how long has it been since the armory was destroyed and this? 2 weeks?
Well, right. But the point is like starting a war.
Right.
Had they forgot the lessons that the Rusties with like war and things and such.
Yeah. But yeah, the armory got destroyed and then they immediately start a war.
Right.
Yeah.
They could have had a diplomatic meeting.
Right. So that was
But instead
quick.
they're forgetting. That's what I'm saying. They forget the lessons of the Rusties after 300 years.
Okay.
But my point was, why so quickly? You
Right,
know?
yeah.
No.
I don't know. I feel like we're on two different pages.
2 completely separate pages.
That's okay.
I feel like you're saying one thing, I'm saying another thing. And
we're both
not-
agreeing. Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, I think we do agree.
I agree.
I agree.
I'm with you. Oh my God. Let's agree to agree.
Let's agree to agree. I think that's the right path. She wondered if the other cities were like Diego, able to make choices and come and go as they please. She wondered if specials like herself were created by Dr. Cable. If so, was she a dangerous weapon that needed to be cured?
Uh-huh.
After all, she and Shay had started a literal war. What is it? You made your bed, hump in it. No. She continued down the hall looking for people in each room. She thought about how normal people didn't seem so pathetic to her anymore. In fact, she was like worried for them now.
Oh no. I mean, that's good.
That's like crazy. She cared. She thought about how being in the smoke the first time had changed her outlook on the world, and maybe coming to Diego had changed her again.
Aww.
Maybe this time if she saw Zane, things would be different. She flipped on her Skintena to a private line and asked Shay how it was being cured. Shay told her, I had to quote this because honestly, making this all like into like a little, it's just too fucking hard.
Yeah.
Well, when Fausto first struck me, I didn't even notice. It took a couple of days to realize what was happening, that I was starting to see things differently. The funny thing was, when he explained what he'd done to me, it was mostly a relief. Everything is less intense now, less extreme. I don't have to cut myself just to make sense of it all. None of us do. But even though things aren't as icy, at least I don't get furious over nothing anymore.
That does sound like a relief.
Yeah. Tally said that's how the doctors explained it when she was locked up. But now she was just numb. Tally asked about the feeling of superiority. Yeah, that's the whole point of special circumstances, Tallywa. It's like they always taught us in school, how in Rusty days, some people were rich, they got all this best stuff, lived longer, and didn't have to follow the usual rules. And everyone thought that was perfectly okay, even if these people hadn't done anything to deserve it, except have the right crumblies.
Love that, though.
That's grandparents.
To talk about a lot.
Yeah. By the way, crumblies are grandparents. Thinking like a special is partly just human nature. It doesn't take much convincing to make someone believe they're better than everyone else.
Damn.
Tally said that Shay said Tally was always that way, even when she was ugly. And Shay said, no, Tallywa, you didn't think you were better than everyone else. Just that you were the center of the universe. It's totally different. Which is so unbelievably annoying.
That is.
This kind of shit from
Still
Shay
throwing shade.
really just pisses me off. Because Shay, pot meat fucking kettle, okay?
Right.
Fuck you, Shay.
I want to read the book from her perspective.
I have to read a book from her perspective.
There is one.
Damn. From him?
I don't know. Let me look it up real quick.
It's got to be from someone different. Tally then asked why Shay didn't cure her when she was asleep. Shay said that for one, she was the reason Tally was special, and she didn't want Tally to change again against her will. And two, when they go back to their city to stop the war, she needs to still be special if Dr. Cable is going to believe anything that Tally is saying when they confess to breaking into the armory.
Okay.
If she isn't, Dr. Cable is going to think that Diego had done something to her mind, and like obviously they just won't believe her.
I guess that makes sense.
Tally is taken aback at the idea of them confessing. She thought that they were going to attack special circumstances, but Shay informs her that if they do that, it will only provoke further retaliation. Did you find the book?
Yeah, I found it. So it's a graphic novel.
Oh, God.
And it's called Ugly Shay Story. It was written by Scott Westerfeld and Devin Grayson. I don't know why I said Devil. Devin Grayson. Sorry.
I wonder.
I think it might be a book as well. I don't know. It might just be a graphic novel. Yeah.
I wonder if I read that, if I would be on like more on Shay's side.
Yeah.
If I read her thought process, because right now
I'm so curious.
I think she's the worst human being that's ever lived. She would go down in history as like the worst friend ever. Oh, okay. They had to tell everyone that Diego had nothing to do with attacking the armory. It was all them. Thinking about confessing to Dr. Cable made Tally want to flee, but that would mean leaving Zane in a battered, threatened city.
Yeah, you can't leave him.
I know. It was all very overwhelming, and Tally felt like she needed fresh air. She asked Shay what the city would do to them once they confessed, and she said she didn't know. Something like this has never happened before.
Unprecedented.
Yeah, if she could go alone, that she would. But Dr. Cable would never believe her because she is cured. Dr. Cable wouldn't be eager to admit she started a war over nothing. Tally knew that she was right, and she knew she had to go. She imagined Zane's face in that moment. Tally told Shay, what's the worst thing that they could do, make us bubbleheads? But there was no response on the other end. Oh. She asked what was going on, and Shay told her to hurry to room 340.
What's happening?
A sense of dread filled Tally as she quickly ran to the room, asking Shay what was going on. Shay opened the line to the other cutters and said that they needed a doctor. Tally asked again what was going on. Shay said she was so sorry. It was Zane.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. You know what? Okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to put a little precursor to this chapter because this chapter pisses me off.
Yeah, it's kind of sucks.
It makes me sad, but then the end of the chapter pisses me off. So let's get into it. Chapter 29, Patient. Tally ran as fast as she could through the hospital to Zane's room. When she got there, Ho and Tax were waiting outside, and she pushed past them. She stopped when she saw Zane. He was hooked up to a bunch of machines, and his face was so pale. She cried out to them, begging to know what happened. What was he doing there? The doctors told her to be quiet and called her a bubblehead. This pissed Tally right off.
Ugh.
Shay had to physically carry her out of the room to get her away from the scene.
Oh my God.
Shay said that she thought Tally was rewiring herself. She was annoyed at Tally for having like a little outburst.
Yeah.
Which is like, what the fuck? Okay,
She
first
doesn't
of
know
all,
what's going on.
she doesn't know what's going on, but also you're cured.
Yeah,
You're
you knew what it was
cured.
like. You remember.
Oh my God, it's been a week. Like, dude, Shay is.
Shay.
And Shay, you couldn't rewire yourself. So how about you shut the fuck up and let Tally do what she does?
Rude.
Honestly. So actually I said, which Shay, you selfish asshole. She is obviously going to have a big reaction to what is happening. Her boyfriend's literally dying.
Oh, no.
/ dead. Like, fuck you.
Oh no.
Shay told her to control herself.
Control yourself.
The rage inside Tally turned into panic as she realized they operated on Zane. They arrived in Diego 2 days ago. This was a city hospital. What could go wrong? Zane was different. He had brain damage, but still. Tally fought the urge to fight her way back into the room. Her panic and anger paralyzed her. Tally realized that whatever was happening was because of the attack. He wasn't evacuated. This was their fault.
Oh gosh.
Shay tried to console her the best that she could. She told her that they needed to wait and see what the doctor said. An hour later, Zane's door opened. There were 5 doctors that had gone in and out of Zane's room during that time. One approached her and told her that Zane's brain rejected the new brain tissue. The machines tried to alert the staff, but no one was nearby because of the attack.
Because of the evacuation.
They were pinged, but the city interface had gone down due to the attack.
Oh my gosh, it's all so horrible.
All because of the attack. His immune system thought the brain tissue was an infection and fought it. And by the time the docs got there, the damage was done.
Dang.
Zane had wanted to be completely fixed. No more lapses in cognition. No more shakes.
Because of Tally.
There were risks, but Zane was aware.
He knew the risks and he did it anyway.
He wanted Tally to not see him as weak or average. And now Zane was brain dead.
Damn, dude. All because
no activity.
He wanted Tally to see him as a whole. It's so sad. I'm tearing up. I'm fine.
It is really sad. It is really, really sad. It's so fucking sad. He was 17 years old.
And he fought like his whole time, even as an ugly. He knew what being a bubblehead was about, and he fought so hard to not be one, and then this is where he ended up.
And then what killed me is the one woman he's ever loved. The last interaction that they had was her pushing, like sticking him with her suit, and then running in the ocean and hiding on the bottom of the ocean. And
getting taken out by a rip current.
And hiding out there.
Half a mile away.
Yeah.
Just watching him.
That was the last reaction
Damn.
That makes me so... The amount of guilt I would feel if I was Tally, like, even though really, like, none of it is something that she could truly control, like, in that moment. Oh, it's absolutely...
I would never recover. No,
I would never recover.
Gosh, no.
I would never date again.
It didn't go well.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Uh-oh.
The wardens around Tally had shock sticks at the ready as the doctor informed her that they needed the bed. There were dozens of casualties from the attack, and they needed the machines and the beds ASAP.
Damn. It's tough, but that's probably how it would go.
100%.
Yeah.
Taking Zane off the machines would mean killing him, and typically they wouldn't move this fast, but tonight was a special circumstance.
Ooh, they keep doing that.
And apparently everything needs to move so fast that Tally had to literally beg to get 5 freaking minutes to say goodbye.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was
like, I just need 5 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes.
Literally, like, but they reluctantly gave in, which is absolutely ridiculous. What kind of fucking hospital is this?
Like, just if you would just give in, you could have 5 more minutes instead of arguing with her for 5 minutes.
Well, and also, like, and the thing is that's so annoying is, like, Shay is even trying to be like, no, Tally, like, no, fuck off.
She's
like,
always done that.
Dude, she can't have he's dead.
Yeah, he's brain dead.
He's literally dead.
He's brain dead and breathing via a machine.
She can't have, I mean, even she had to fight for any amount of time to just say goodbye to this person that she literally loved.
Yeah, she loved him. And I mean, he's a person and her friend.
Do you know what's sick? Very least. Do you know what's sick about this too? Is Shay was Zane's friend first, and she's not fighting for she's completely cured, and she is not fighting for 1 second to say goodbye to her friend.
That is
Tax
so
and Ho are not fighting for 1 second to say goodbye to their friend.
I don't understand
the only person that's fighting to say goodbye to this person that they apparently cared so much, cares about, is Tally.
It's a special mind.
Sickening.
Yeah.
It's sickening.
I don't understand. Like, it's not that dire, I'm sure.
And Shay wants to sit here and, like, constantly make Tally out to be the bad guy. And this is the kind of person that she is. That was her good friend.
Yeah. They were going to run away together.
Oh my God. It is sick. Like, honestly, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. I don't even need a Shay book to know that that's disgusting.
You're right.
But maybe for the rest, who knows? Anyways, Zane was hooked up to the machines, his heart beating at a steady pace, but Tally could see that he was dead. She reflected on when she found the boss dead after the smoke had been invaded. He just looked wrong. For Zane, it was like that, but also so much worse. Every detail was 100 times clearer. The wrong color of his face, the too steady pulse in his throat, the way his fingernails were slowly fading from pink to white. Tax and Shay tried to express how sorry they were. She realized because of Maddie's cure, they couldn't understand. They couldn't see Zane the way that she did right now.
Oh.
Like, just how clear,
yeah,
the death was.
I can understand that.
It's so sad. She touched his hand and thought about how this was all her fault. She coaxed him here. She wanted him fixed. This was the price of her massive ego.
Oh God, that's so horrible.
Which I understand why she's
feeling
this.
Yeah, for sure.
She told him she was sorry. Then she told Shay she wanted to go. She wanted to stop this war, like, right now.
Yeah.
Get me the fuck out of here.
I've seen enough.
It's really sad. Shay told her that they would go first thing in the morning. Tally realized that the Cutters hadn't slept in days and they needed to rest, which was okay because this wasn't Shay's fight anymore. She agreed to go at first light, but told Shay she couldn't sleep, so she would meet her. But Tally had no plans to meet Shay. She knew she had to leave everyone behind. Shay would only slow her down.
She has to Irish exit.
She's got to get the fuck out of there.
Chapter 30, Going Home. Tally left the moment Shay fell asleep. No longer special, Shay was useless, but Tally wasn't. I feel like
she is just useless in general,
yeah.
But that's fine. No, she's not. Shay is actually has her moments.
She took 2 boards, riding one while the other followed behind, and she would jump between the two so their lifting fans wouldn't burn out for several days. Very smart.
Very demure.
And she's riding faster than she ever had. The sunrise is so beautiful, it hurt like razors, and she knew she'd never have to cut herself again. She had a metaphorical knife inside her, cutting all the time. According to Tax, Dr. Cable was going to attack Diego in 6 days if the bubbleheads in Diego didn't attack their own government first. I don't know. That was confusing.
Oh, because they're probably... Yeah, no,
they're
it's not
outraged
confusing. Because of the attack. Because the attack wouldn't have happened if Diego didn't take in runaways. So it's like an internal revolution or like a protest, basically.
Yeah. Oh, it's a lot. It's a mess.
Yeah.
She's in a whiteweed desert riding 100 kilometers per hour, and she would die if she fell. And I looked that up, and that's 62 miles per hour. That is very fast.
That is...
It's very fast.
Compared to like... Okay, yeah. No, it's fast.
Compared to what?
Like, that's what we go on the highway. Like, that's like the slowness we go on the highway.
Yeah, you're like, come on, speed up. But you're also in a car. She's
That's
like,
true. She is on a hoverboard.
teeny tiny little hoverboard.
Yeah.
No crash bracelets.
No, that's fair.
No bungee. Okay.
No bungee.
But
jacket.
all of her doubts and insecurities had been burned away. Danger didn't matter anymore. Nothing did. She was truly special now, whatever that means. She continues to travel even as the sun goes down.
It's what we said. She's not weighed down by her love for people.
Because it's all gone.
The only person she ever cared about is dead. Well, not the only person, but the person that she cares about right now is dead.
Most. Oh,
the person that she cares about right in this
it
moment
makes
is
sense.
dead.
And this whole like her traveling back to the city is very like you can feel her like apathy towards everything. She's just like
she's very manic.
yeah.
She's having a manic
But she also
episode.
doesn't care. Yeah, she's just like deadpan, just traveling.
I've had these moments.
She continues to travel even as the sun goes down, navigating only by the sounds of the surf. That's insane. As dawn breaks, she shoots over a camp of runaways, and the wind of her passage scattered the embers of their fire, and the runaways frantically tried to put out the fire and keep it from spreading. They were screaming like bubbleheads, but she didn't stop flying. She just like watched it happen and then turned around and kept flying. She wonders what will happen to runaways now. She's sure Andrew Simpson Smith will continue handing out position finders. Will Diego be able to take them? If not, they'll have to turn around and go home. But being city kids, she thinks that most of them would be consumed by the wild, not having brought enough supplies to make a return journey. And she's probably right. That's crazy to think about.
That makes me sad.
I know. They're like all out there looking for a better life, and then they just like die of starvation or bear attacks.
Well,
or
I
something.
love how he like, and I know how he said that too. Like, consumed by the wild is such a like gentle term for that. Like, they die.
Yeah. They
Die in the wild.
In a number of ways.
Yeah.
Tally fell on her second night of nonstop flying. One of her boards was acting up, and she was keeping a close eye on it when she crashed into a tree branch from a lone pine, snapping it clean off. Her crash bracelets caught her, bouncing her along the tracks for 100 meters before her momentum died. I love that imagery. And she also was like, if the tracks had curved, would the crash bracelets have taken her around the curve, or would have just like...
Yeah, I'm curious about that too.
Yeah, like it would have followed the metal.
That would have been fun to like
discover.
See. Yeah. Yeah.
She was unhurt, and a minute later, both her boards found her again. She acts against her better judgment and continues to ride, and she's less than a day away from the city now. Just after dawn, one of her boards gave out in a high-pitched squeal, and she leapt to the other one. She turned around to watch the other one in a white-hot mass of streaking metal hit the sea with a geyser of water and spray, and then like turn around and just kept going. It's crazy. Tally slows down when she reaches the rusty ruins, letting her lifting fans rest. The ruins bring back all of her memories of running away there, hiding out in there with the Smokies, of Shay and Zane. She thinks how Zane was the real reason she wasn't a bubblehead anymore, but then thinks that maybe once she reaches Dr. Cable, she'll end up a bubblehead again, and all those ugly memories will be erased at last. And I feel like she's like, I hope that happens, kind of. You know, if that happens,
so be it. Yeah. I fear I would want that.
Like, just please put Elysians back in.
Make me pretty.
She hears a ping on her cutter's frequency with no ID. She doesn't know what to make of it, so she says hello. It pings again and again. She assumes it's an ugly trick and keeps moving. But it pings again, and she thinks if it's an ugly, they might be worth talking to if they were tricky enough to hack their cutter's frequency. She follows the strength of the signal and tells the pinger, 1 ping for yes, 2 for no. She's like, listen up, ugly. 1 ping for yes, 2 for no. Got it? She's so like bossy.
Demanding. Yeah.
Do I know you? Ping. Are you a crim? Ping, ping. The signal strength peaked at the tallest building in the ruins. Oh, I wonder who it could be. Are you an ugly? And then there was a long pause and then a ping. And I can just imagine David being like, are you an ugly? Like, yeah.
God damn it.
This again. Like,
This
we're still
again.
dealing with this shit.
I mean, your definition of ugly, sure.
Ping.
But I'm actually kind of hot for an ugly.
I've heard. The wind shifted and she could smell Spag Bowl. Long live Spag Bowl. She asks if they're from the city. Ping, ping. She's riding up the outside of the building when she heard some rubble shifting. She leans in through a window, looks up, and sees David.
Shout out David.
Chapter 31, David. He tells her that he was there waiting for her. He knew that she would have to come back through the ruins one more time. Fausto had helped him rig a device to detect and listen in on the Cutter's antenna. Man, Fausto is MVP.
Fausto is the man.
Like, for this whole series, he's the secret MVP.
Fausto is my man. Just kidding.
She's like,
He's
I don't
16.
care how you pinged me. How did you get here so fast? Because he was also in the city in Diego?
Yeah, he was.
He was. Okay.
Yeah.
When Tally left without Shay, Shay realized that Tally was right. Diego needed Shay more than Tally did. But they didn't need David, so he took a helicopter to a pickup spot halfway there. And she silently berates herself for her dramatic and bubblehead exit when she could have gotten a ride halfway there.
Do you know what? Fuck Shay. Because, of course, she realized, oh, yeah, Tally's right. They don't need me to confess the crime that it was my fucking idea.
Yeah, I don't actually need to be there. She's so right.
Dude, fuck Shay. I'm going to say it for the millionth time. Fuck Shay.
She's also relieved to hear that Diego hadn't abandoned them yet. They're still helping runaways, I think is what that all means.
Yeah.
She again asks why he's here. David tells her he's there to help. He doesn't like cities that much, and he doesn't know anything about war. So, may as well go help Tally, I guess.
Yeah.
He asks if she was okay, and she gets angry and says, no, I'm not okay. And he said, we're worried about you, Tally. And she's like, who, you and Shay? And he said, no, me and my mother.
What?
She's like, since when is Maddie worried about me? David says, quote, she's been thinking about you a lot lately. She had to study the special operation to cure it. She knows quite a bit about what it's like, being what you are. She is angry, gets in his face, teeth bared, and says, no one knows what it's like to be me right now, David. I can promise you, no one. Well, I mean, she's kind of right.
Yeah, and
She's like
also
the only
fuck
cutter.
Maddie. And also fuck David right now for being a little mama's boy. He's pissing me off.
Yeah, it's all a lot going on. He apologizes and says he wasn't referring to Zane. Ugh. Tally felt something leaden shift inside her. This was the first time that any feeling had broken through her despair since losing Zane. Mm-hmm. She feels defeated, and David offers her an injector containing the special cure. She tells him that she can't be cured until she talks to Dr. Cable. He's like, yeah, I know your plan because of MVP Fausto. I wrote that in my notes, but tells her to keep it just in case. David tells her that because Tally thought her way out of being a bubblehead, it helped Maddie realize that they didn't have to get rid of the lesions. All they had to do was stimulate the brain to work around them. So what happened to Zane won't happen to anyone else. And that's cool. That's good. That's why the cure is safer and why it works so fast. And honestly, like when you think about that, like the cure that, like those two pills that they should have taken together, that is insane.
Yeah.
Like they gave them nanos, which nanos are machines, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I feel like they're machines, or maybe they're biological, but they eat the brain, and then they have other nanos that eat those nanos. Like that is so like that could go wrong in so many ways.
So yeah,
yeah. So that's.
But they gave that out to like hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, they knew how to take it, but they did. Yeah.
No, Maddie. No, that was when she had made the new cure.
Oh,
I think they were like one of the.
So they
only
only gave the old cure. The only old cure that they give,
maybe was to like the Crims, or
to the Crims.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right when they
That's
got to the Smokies.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think maybe.
Still, to get that out to tens of people. Tens of people.
It's very dangerous. Very crazy. But that's how they were able to change Diego in only 2 months because of Tally. She doesn't feel good about it, but David said, "You're to blame for the people of Diego's freedom for the end of the operation." She's like, well, they still have Dr. Cable to be worried about, so we're not out of the woods yet. Yeah. David tells her Dr. Cable is weak. Fear is the only thing keeping her in power, and they've smuggled 200,000 pills into her city. If they can dispel that fear, the whole world will start paying attention. You can fix things everywhere. The world is changing, and Tally made it happen. She's exhausted. No fix or cure or whatever will feel that good when Zane will still be dead. She asks David if Maddie actually likes her now, and David says, she realizes how important you are to the world and to me, which was not a yes.
Zane just died.
It's not a yes. Yeah, and he's like, by the way, I still really like you, and now that Zane's out of the way, I feel like maybe...
Listen,
maybe
I'm prepared to be your second choice.
I'm all for
I'm
that.
prepared. I'm physically, mentally, and emotionally prepared to be your second choice.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Too soon.
Listen, no, I'm Team Zane. I'll be honest. Like, if Zane was alive, I'd be Team Zane.
Yeah, me too.
But I don't hate David. Like,
No,
I think
same.
David is right. Like, it was very close for me, like between Zane and David. So I can understand her going back to David, but not now.
Yeah, it's too soon.
He's not, Zane's body's not even cold.
No.
In the ground. It's not even in the ground.
She's been traveling for about 5 days, I think. 4 days.
It
3
can't
maybe.
even be in the ground.
Maybe
Maybe it is in the ground.
Probably not. They probably have other things to do. They're probably like shoved in a mass freezer.
I mean, the dirt is freshly fucking turned. Like, give it some time.
Yeah.
Heal
Boo,
yourself,
David.
girly pop.
But Tally doesn't like that he still likes her. And she's like, I fucked up your whole world. Stop saying things like that. But he can look past everything that happened and can happily put the blame on special circumstances. And she's like, are we done here? I need to go.
No, that's fair because it is special circumstances' fault.
Yeah,
she
was.
didn't do anything.
But she
I'm
doesn't.
sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
She's still special-minded. She doesn't understand it.
Yeah.
And he says, yes. He's like, I said all I needed to say. We're done. You can go. He tries to tell her that he understands how she feels, that he lost someone too, and he wanted to disappear. And she scoffs at him, but he says he'll be waiting for her after she goes and confesses. He says, quote, you're not alone, Tally. Don't pretend you are. She wants to leave, but is too exhausted, so she stays to sleep. And David offers his sleeping bag, and Tally takes the injector from him. He tells her, you're safe here. So she's like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. I can have your bag. Give me that injector. Shoves it in her sneak suit.
I might need it.
Pings every 10 minutes. No, I don't think she did that. Chapter 32, emergency.
I do love David. I'm sorry.
I do too. It's crazy how they can make us love both of them.
I do, and I love both of them. And this is the shit I hate about love triangles because, I mean, I guess one did kind of get taken out. Not kind of. He did get taken out. The love triangle. Yeah. But, like, I would have been happy if she ended up with either of them. Like, I love both of them.
Yeah, and they love both. They loved her.
Yeah, and David loves her so unbelievably unconditionally, but so did Zane.
Argue about it all day.
I know. I could literally talk about it forever. I love them all. She's the luckiest girl in the world.
Yeah, 16. At 16.
At 16,
Wild.
she has these men literally wrapped around her finger with every face she could ever have.
Yeah. Oh my
Ugly,
gosh.
pretty, special. It doesn't even matter. This bitch got everyone wrapped around her finger.
That's wild.
Except for Shay. Actually, especially Shay. Let's be honest.
Yes. That's why Shay's so crazy.
He's so for real.
Because Shay wants Tally's attention and she never gives it to her.
That's so fair. That's the only. I think Tally's the only person that Shay has really truly cared about. Tally's the one thing that Shay has always gotten weighed down by.
But it's so like up and down. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
It's
but
so crazy. Chapter 32, emergency meeting. She took the river home. She tuned into the city's feeds, and people seemed happy about the attack on Diego. And special circumstances was at the forefront of it all, promising to keep the city safe. Also, the uglies and pretties had a list of new rules, regulations, and curfews to abide by, and no one seemed to be complaining about it. She tries to ping Dr. Cable, but one of her sub-commanders, Maximilla Feaster,
fuck that bitch,
answers and tells her Dr. Cable is in a council meeting at Special Circumstances headquarters, and she's the head of the council now, and tell me what this is about. By the way, where have you cutters been? Like, you guys have been missing for like weeks.
What the fuck's going on?
She says she's been in Diego fighting the war, and she has important intel, then cuts the feed and heads towards Special Circumstances. She opens her feed again, and Feaster answers again. She tells him there's another attack coming, and I have to talk to the council, and then cuts it off. In a dramatic entrance, she smashes her board on the top of the building, sending alarms blaring, but she's able to quiet them because she is a special. Then Feaster tells her that Dr. Cable will hear her out in Level J Operation Theater, and he lets her in. She's sprinting. Every second apparently counts.
Yeah,
Like
this
her
was so
entrance
crazy
into the building. Yeah, it really was.
It's so over the top.
Feaster says he has an elevator waiting for her, but she says, no time, just open the shaft. And he's like, what the fuck? But opens it, and she ping pongs off the walls all the way down and lands in a sprint. She sees Feaster, and he opens the door to the theater, and she runs in, and it's empty. And he shuts the door on her and tells her to wait for Dr. Cable. And she's like, this is important. He says, what do you even have to say? That Diego wasn't responsible for the attack on the armory? That it was really you? And she's like, how could they know?
Because they're not stupid, Tally. They've been a step ahead of you for your entire life.
Literally at every turn.
At every turn. She should have prepared for this.
He tells her to be patient, shuts the light off, and kills her Skintenna. Chapter 33, Confession. Tally struggles to control her rage at the thought she was going to lose to Dr. Cable again, but holds it together. Finally, Dr. Cable shows up with other specials, and she reveals the knife that Tally had used to cut her palm. That's the same knife that Shay had launched over the roof of the armory before they broke in. So, I mean, and they just had left that on the grass for them to just find.
Well, Tally had said that they like wiped it.
Shay had wiped it for fingerprints. But had probably missed some DNA, some blood in the serrated edges.
Right. In the story.
I imagine.
Right.
They had known all along that Tally was responsible for the destruction of the armory. Then Dr. Cable says, quote, I knew that nasty little habit would get you cutters in trouble. Is it really that wonderful? I'll have to look into that next time I make specials so young. She asks Tally why, but Tally is unwilling to bring Zane or Shay into it, so she just tells her it was an accident and she didn't mean to release those nanos. Like, oops, I didn't mean to do that.
Sorry.
Dr. Cable told her that she couldn't admit her specials had almost dismantled the city's defenses, so she used the opportunity to try and take out an old opponent. Diego had supported the old smoke and had been taking runaways in for years, supplying the smoke with sneak suits and their disregard for morphological standards. The other cities were waiting for someone to take Diego down, so she stepped up. That sounds like someone I know.
Step up. Do you recognize that reference? No. It's from the movie Step Up.
Oh, man.
Dang it. Sorry.
Channing Tatum?
That was stupid. Step up.
It's niche. Very niche.
It's very niche.
Dr. Cable says the war will never end. She's getting too much done, and the bubbleheads love it. Tally pretends she's been broadcasting this whole confession to the city, and she takes out the injector, and she pretends that the injector was a satellite transmitter, and the needle is an antenna, and she has cameras in her eyes because Diego does crazy surgeries and microphones in her fingernails. Dr. Cable has a moment of panic, but scans the feeds, and they are empty. And she's like, and Tally is like, oops, forgot to press send. And then Dr. Cable rushes her and smashes the injector out of her hand, breaking it. Tally takes a deep breath, sniffs the air, and can smell blood. So she knows she got her with the cure, and distracts Dr. Cable from taking a closer look at the injector by kicking her in the stomach, and then jumping on the injector. And then other specials rush into the room, and she attacks as many people as she can while smashing the injector into powder. So you imagine she has to run around and then come back and
come back.
It's super obvious.
I 100%.
With both feet.
I was like, how does no one notice that she keeps going back to the injector? How does no
jumping
one
on
notice?
It with both feet?
She's like, she's getting rid of evidence. Come on. They've been a step ahead and they're not ahead of this.
No. She's subdued now, but hopes curing Dr. Cable will do something or mean something. Chapter 34, Crumbling. Tally saw the changes come slowly in Dr. Cable. Meanwhile, she used all her energy to stay sane. She was fighting claustrophobia because she was 12 stories underground, probably, confined in a cell, and she was designed to roam the wild. I can't imagine. That would be awful.
That'd be horrible.
Oh my God. I gotta take a deep breath. She also resisted cutting herself with her own fingernails because of Zane. She's like, he didn't like that, so I won't do it.
He didn't like that, and he's dead.
Yeah.
So I won't do it.
In his honor.
In his R.I.P.
In his memory. Oh.
Rest in peace.
We love Zane. We're really sad about
Zane.
his death.
This is just how I cope with death.
We just have to cope somehow.
Even imaginary death.
It's still feels real somewhere.
Yeah.
Dr. Cable came in complaining that Diego had broadcasted Shay and Tax and their scars and calling Dr. Cable a monster. So Shay and Tax did like a media, like an interview or something.
Yeah.
Where they were like, I imagine them sitting down on like 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Doing
the
an interview.
real about Dr. Cable.
Yeah. Showing them scars. Like she
They're
was
like,
a monster.
This is what she's a monster.
She convinced us that we would have better lives and then turned us into monsters.
Yeah.
I love that.
And now we're cured, thank God.
And they were broadcasting Tally's body. She's not famous. She's infamous. People are afraid of her. That's so crazy.
That's amazing.
It is. Tally's her. Iconic.
Iconic.
Slay.
She's an icon. Very demure.
Tally spent 2 weeks of solitary silence when her wall screen booted up. She thought someone had taken pity on her and booted it up for her. The city's new regulations are becoming less strict, and the second attack on Diego never happened. Slowly, the world started to believe Diego didn't attack her city's armory, especially when the Crumbly Museum operator told his story. He also did an interview for 2020.
Yeah, for the real.
The other cities didn't like the new system, but they didn't want a shooting war where people died. Occasionally, they'd talk about the 17 people who died in the attack on Diego, but Tally always swiped past that segment because they always showed their pictures too, and Zane was one of them, obviously.
Yeah.
She's not very far in the grieving process. Well, how could she be?
How could she be? I mean,
we've moved on so fast.
Yeah, we've moved on so fast.
Talks of expansion and changing the morphological standards started, and they got heated. The cure was taking hold and fast. But she worried, what kind of future had she let loose? Were the cities going to start acting like Rusties, overpopulating and leveling everything in their path? Who was left to stop them? Dr. Cable was removed from her power, and talks of despecialization started. They were dangerous and potentially psychotic. I love that. They were potentially psychotic.
Potentially.
Yeah. Some of them definitely.
Yeah.
Others were towed the line most of the time.
No question. Yeah.
They didn't exist in other cities. It wasn't fair for them to be alive. The closest that other cities had to specials was boosted reflexes in firefighters and rangers. After a long debate, it finally happened. One by one, all the specials were made into normal citizens. Tally struggled against the panic that she might be made average with leaky eyes. She doesn't even want to lose her cutter scars. The other cutters, because she reminds her of everything she's been through, I understand that. The other cutters might be able to escape, but she was helpless. Then, one day, the doctors came.
I think they talked about too at one point that just something I wanted to bring up quickly is that other cities didn't have the same defensive.
They didn't have
stuff.
Yeah,
like the specials were not as intense.
Like a military, like defense
system organization. Yeah, they had like sneak suits and stuff like that, but they didn't have like specials the way that Dr. Cable specials were special. Like it was like their whole special circumstances was incredibly unique to Tally City.
Yeah, like the wardens at Diego was what they had.
I think that's why they weren't able to defend against their hovercrafts, because I'd imagine that it also extended to their technology. They had certain technologies that maybe were more advanced.
So they didn't have anti-aircraft technologies at their borders.
Yeah, I would
that makes
assume
sense.
so. Yeah. Why is 2 long drinks making me like...
They're 5 point...
Dude, these...
5%.
I'll say it. These long drinks are making me... Twipsy. Twipsy. Wanting to twirl and twip.
That's right. Yeah. I say that all the time.
Twipsy. I'm getting twipsy tonight. Chapter 35. Operation. Tally heard 2 voices outside talking nervously about her. How strong she was, whether or not what they brought would work on her, whether it was strong enough. Then she heard the hiss of the gas as it entered the room. She looked frantically around the room for any escape, but there was no way out. She had looked for the month that she'd been locked up, and still,
yeah. This is the second time she's being gassed down.
She was literally in a special circumstance. Yeah, in a cell that, was basically designed for people like
to
her.
Hold her, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no way. It wasn't her fault she was so dangerous, and she didn't want to change. She held her breath to stop from inhaling whatever was filling the room. The only thing she could think to do was cut. She promised Zane that she wouldn't, but right now she felt like she had no other options.
They gotta think.
She gotta think. She gonna be icy. Right as she was about to jam her fingernails in her skin, she heard a voice through her skin antenna. They told her not to be a little moron and to pretend that she was passing out.
Come on, you idiot.
Literally called her a little moron.
A little moron. Love that.
She did as she was told because really she had no other choice. She realized the gas wasn't doing anything to her at all. Like it wasn't making her fuzzy or like sleepy or anything. Tally tried to figure out who would be helping her as she replayed the words David had told her over in her head. You are not alone.
Oh,
moments later,
David?
Maybe not though. Moments later, the two people from outside opened the door to retrieve Tally. The two people had come to take her to surgery to make her normal. The voice told Tally not to move and to wait for her. So it's a girl. It's a woman.
Oh.
Yeah. So Tally let them take her away. She waited and waited as they took her to the elevator and up to the main operating rooms. She fought the urge to escape the entire way because she's like, really, who could stop me?
Yeah, literally nobody.
Everyone is despecialized.
She could have took a run for it.
And she would have made it.
She would have.
She kept repeating to herself that she wasn't alone. They stripped her clothes off and prepared her for surgery. They lifted her into the operating tank and put a breathing tube in her mouth, which probably was super uncomfortable. Actually, it was. I think they said it was
right
super
in your
uncomfortable.
trachea.
Then the tank began to fill with liquid full of nutrients and nanos to keep the tissue alive as they operated on her, which is crazy.
Love that.
They filled the tank completely, muffling the sounds of the room and covering her eyes and nose, making the breathing tube her only source of air. She heard the voice tell her that they were on their way. She really had no choice at this point but to stay put because obviously she was trapped and immobilized in the operating tank.
Yeah, why'd they wait so long?
I don't know. She then heard a smack against the tank and Tally opened her eyes. Her rescuer was there. Thank God. Woo-hoo. She couldn't make out who it was because of the liquid, because it was so thick in viscosity.
I remember. I don't remember. I imagine.
I remember when I was there.
I remember that it looks like green Jello. I imagine that I don't know why it has to be green in my head, but like green
Jello
and then,
is interesting because I wouldn't have thought it would have been Jello. I would have thought it would have been more like
gelatinous.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Green.
Though I see that.
And light green.
She bursted into action, ripping the dermal braid from her arm, which I don't even know what the fuck that
dermal
is.
Braid.
I don't know what that
dermal?
is.
That's skin.
Braid.
Dermal braid from her skin.
And pulling
it's
the
probably
braid.
like an IV or something.
Yeah, that's what I kind of pictured it as, is like an IV, like pumping shit into her system. Like the
knockout juice.
Yeah, the knockout juice, exactly. And she pulled the breathing tube out of her mouth.
Bad idea.
Which again, like, let's remind, this is her only source of air.
Yeah, and she's in a tank filled with liquid.
Yeah, thick liquid. And then she tried to pull herself out of the tank, but the lid was closed. Crap. She tried to find an opening, but when she failed, she started scratching at the walls.
Oh, it's so stressful that she took out her breathing tube. Oh my God.
She's such a stupid bitch.
Stupid little moron. Bitch.
Tally was moving so frantically, the servo arm scalpels were cutting her into ribbons.
Oh my God, yeah. The operation, I can't even imagine it.
I know. She looked out to her rescuer for help, but a struggle was still going on outside of the tank. Tally pulled herself to the top of the tank where there was about a centimeter of air, and she took a breath, but that wasn't going to last long. She needed to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
She tried to beat at the walls, but with her fist, but the liquid was too thick. It was completely slowing down her punches. Just then, a figure bumped into the tank, making it wobble, and she realized that was her way out. She threw her body from side to side in the tank to make it tip over.
Cool.
Finally, it fell, and the tank cracked. Liquid poured from around her onto the floor. Bleeding and naked, Tally looked up to see who her rescuer was.
Oh my gosh.
And lo and behold, it was Dr. Motherfucking Cable.
Oh my gosh. She's cured. She's cured.
She's cured. Chapter 36, Tears.
Sorry. We always make a really crazy joke and then it just like gets serious again. It's the next line.
So unbelievably awkward, and I love it. She looked 1,000 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Like Fausto, she looked like champagne with no bubbles. She did sneer at Tally, Dr. Cable did, showing she still had that attitude, and scolded her for taking out her breathing tube first.
I love that.
When she was trying to escape.
Yeah.
Tally was confused but looked around the room for alarms or more security. Cable told her she knew all the tricks of the building and that no one was coming. Tally questioned if she still had special reflexes. Cable said that she wasn't special anymore. She was pathetic, but she was still dangerous. Okay. Tally asked why she was doing this, and Cable said she'd tell her, but she wanted to know what Tally did to her first. Tally said she cured her with the transmitter. That wasn't really a transmitter, but an injector with a cure. Cable cursed Maddie, because of course it was her fault.
Maddie.
For her work on another cure. Maddie!
Shaking her fist there.
And told Tally that the pills were everywhere and the world was basically going to shit.
Damn.
Cable said that they were starting to chew up the world again and the pills were a cancer. Tally said that that was the price of choice. Freedom has a way of destroying things.
Oh my gosh.
Tally asked if that was the reason she was here, to blame her. But Cable told her that she was letting her go. Tally was the last of her specials designed to live in the wild, exist outside of the city. She didn't want her life's work to go extinct. She wanted her to escape and disappear.
Right. That's her project.
That's her prodigy.
Yeah.
She begged her to get out and to never cure herself.
Oh my God.
The world may need her one day. And that there was, of course, a hoverboard waiting for her on the roof because she was a miscreant.
Like, I know how much you love hoverboards. There's one on the roof.
She said, what is it? She goes, what is it about you miscreants in those hoverboards? That's what she said. She called them miscreants.
Oh, who do you picture as Dr. Cable?
Laverne Cox.
Oh. That makes sense.
I don't know. Honestly, I picture
Meryl Streep.
No,
that's bad.
No.
Cut that.
No, it's not bad. It's just not who I picture. Hold on.
I picture Professor McGonagall. No, I'm just kidding.
I should know this off the top
Emily
of my
Blunt.
Head. Viola Davis.
Do you have a picture?
From How to Get Away with Murder.
Oh, okay. Love that.
Yeah. Viola Davis, 10 out of 10. She would fucking murder this role.
That's a good one. Yes, that's a good one.
Absolutely. And
love that.
Like that evil, because she kind of she's played some evil roles and like things like that, and dude, she'd murder the show.
So confident.
But you know what? And we'll talk about this in our little additional episode. But I actually think Laverne Cox did a really good job, and I think Laverne Cox has the ability to play the type of Dr. Cable that was in this book.
Yeah.
But they just not the script that they gave Laverne Cox.
Yeah.
But I do think
direction.
I do think that she has that ability for sure.
Yeah.
So Laverne Cox too. Like I think that she was a fabulous choice. Just
we'll get into it.
We'll get into
you
that
probably
later.
already heard it because we'll release it before this comes out.
Yeah, for sure. Tally plucked one of the orderly scrubs off their unconscious body on the floor and threw them on. Because there was like a bunch of like unconscious bodies around them. Because obviously Dr. Cable had to fight a bunch of orderlies and doctors to get to Tally.
Yeah.
Tally asked Dr. Cable if she was worried that she'd cure herself. And Cable said, my faith in you has always been rewarded, Tally Youngblood. Why should I start worrying now?
Oh my gosh. I kind of love this.
No, that's so taunting. Like I'd literally throttle her.
I kind of like it. I don't know, because it's like enemy turning into like your only lifeline right now.
Sure. But also fuck you. Tally reached the roof with no resistance. She stood for a moment taking in the open air. It was all a reminder that Zane wasn't there. It was bittersweet standing there feeling the salt from the sea on her lips. It reminded her of the kiss with Zane that she like pushed him away for.
Yeah, when she jumped off the cliff to avoid him, to avoid throwing up in his face.
She imagined that moment again, like she had in the cell for the last month.
Damn,
but this time, she imagined letting the kiss go on and on as if she didn't feel his trembling.
That's so sad.
Then, like specials don't normally do, she began to cry.
Yeah, specials like literally can't cry.
They can't. They have inabilities.
I wonder if obviously they didn't take their tear ducts out, but
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
they just didn't have that capacity in their brain
I wonder.
to feel that sad. But now she does. That's it. That's
Good
canon.
for Tally,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Grieve, girl.
Grieve.
Mourn.
Take your time. Chapter 37, Ruins. Before Tally left the city, she booted her skintenna and saw that she had 3 messages. One from Shay, one from Maddie, and one from Paris.
Paris.
Forgot about him.
Oh, story just ends.
He's so forgettable. Shay said that she was in Diego helping out their defenses and also helping out with repair. They got to keep their morphological changes from their time as specials, except for the teeth and the nails.
Okay.
The cure was still spreading through the continent, and Diego was getting runaways daily. Diego was growing because it was ground zero for the new system.
Damn.
She updated Tally hourly so that when Tally got out, she could jump right in to help. Lastly, Shay expressed how sorry she was for the despecialization surgery that she thought Tally was going to get. And the cutters...
Aged. Like another soul came out of your body.
Oh my God. That was terrifying. The cutters heard it would happen, but they didn't want to risk another war by swooping in to save her. But no matter what, she was always a cutter. She'll always be a cutter. She was part of their gang.
Yeah. Yeah, like you're with us still if you want to be.
Yeah, I guess it's a sweet gesture.
Yeah.
Now, Maddie, we're on to Maddie's.
Okay.
Let Tally know David left Diego and was somewhere in the wild. The Smokies were still working on smuggling the cure to other cities, expanding far and wide, and soon to other continents. There was a whole world waiting to be liberated if Tally wanted to help.
Damn.
Then she said, if Tally saw David, tell him that Maddie, his mother, loves him.
You've done that in every single episode. You've said, Maddie, David's mother. So funny.
Loves him. Good for everyone involved.
Great.
Lastly, we're at Paris, the forgettable man himself.
Woohoo, what does he got to say? I don't even remember.
He told he's that forgettable. He told her that the Crims left Diego and were living in the wild. They met up with the villagers from the experiment. Yes.
Andrew Simpson Smith.
Well, he makes an appearance. And we're exchanging information and also survival skills. So they were basically like swapping just lifestyles and like helping each other live simultaneously in the wild.
Yeah, and together living in harmony.
Harmonious.
Harmonious.
Yes. Paris had met Andrew Simpson Smith, who told Paris to tell Tally to keep challenging the gods.
Oh my gosh, I love that from him.
I just love it. Andrew Simpson Smith
his journey is amazing, and I love it.
Is literally everything, and I'm obsessed. She didn't want to answer any of the messages yet. Instead, she took her normal path to the rusty ruins, enjoying the view of nature along the way. She admired the tall buildings as she rode through the ruins. She climbed the tallest building Shay had shown her almost a year ago.
It's only been a year. All 3 books.
The most insane thing I've ever heard in my life.
It is crazy.
It was empty when she got to the spot that they always rode to. David had left. The only thing that was there was packets of used self-heated food. She rode up higher to the top of the tower.
Littering?
Yeah, what the fuck, David? That's like not like
what Smokies do.
Well, but probably I bet you that those packets are like
decompostable.
Yeah.
That is not the word.
That is the word for now.
Wait.
Compost? No. Recyclable? Biodegradable. Yeah, that's it.
Insert big word here.
Insert the right word.
Insert the correct phrase.
For the love of God. She called out David's name, but there was no answer. She remembered Shay's old trick from their ugly days, and so she lit a flare and raised it in the air. When it sputtered out, she curled up into a ball to sleep, too tired at this point to think about if anyone had seen it. But he did, because David came at dawn.
Damn.
He loves her still.
He was waiting.
Chapter 38, The Plan. David asked Tally where she was. He had been trying to enter the city for like a month to try and find her. The whole month that she was in the city, he was like, I was trying to get in, I think.
Why couldn't you get in? Why couldn't you get in?
Well, she said, she's like, the defenses were down. He's like, you obviously don't know how cities work. And she's like, he had lived in the wild his whole life. How does he know how the fucking city works?
Yeah,
He's an
like,
idiot.
you could have just walked in. I swear.
I swear to God.
You were too scared, David.
You didn't want me that bad.
He's like poking around trees and he sees somebody and then runs away. Couldn't get in that day. Oh, didn't work.
Damn it. We'll try again tomorrow. But when he finally made it in, he couldn't find the special circumstances headquarters, which is hilarious because the only first place book,
he's been. The only place in the entire city he's been.
Dude, when I read that, I was like,
he's lying.
He's lying.
He's like, I literally was too scared, but
I don't want to tell her.
I can't say that.
I've been trying to get in the whole time.
And then I couldn't find it.
Whoopsies. He said he tried to get in to find her because he heard on the city's feed that there was going to be despecializing like surgeries, right?
Mm-hmm.
He asked if she was still special, and she asked what he thought. He's like, are you so special? And she's like, what do you think, David? And he's like, I don't know, you just look like Tally to me. And Tally started to like tear up, and he's like, oh my God, did I say something wrong? And she's like, no, you just took on 5 million years of evolution again.
And isn't that something that Zane said?
No, it was something that David said in the first book when he said that like how you like talk and how you like walk is what makes you beautiful.
How you talk and how you walk.
What makes you beautiful or something along those lines.
Yeah. I remember.
They ate some city meals, and she told him what all had happened in the last month. After the story, David needed confirmation that she was special because the context clues weren't enough, apparently. And she said her body was, but her mind was rewired, thinking about Zane and him telling her to rewire her mind. And she's like, I did. They talked about how the revolution is going well, how Maddie thought David was traveling the world. Tally tells David about the message Maddie sent to Tally, and like, you know.
Meanwhile, he's just been hiding out in the rusty ruins for a month.
Yeah. By the way, your mom says she loves you.
Your mom wanted me to tell you something.
I love you. I mean, like that Maddie loves you.
That came out wrong.
It was so awkward.
Oh my gosh.
It seemed to Tally that Maddie knew where David really was, that she knew that he wasn't out like spreading the cure, that he probably was with Tally, which is why she sent the message to Tally.
To Tally, yeah.
She reflected on how she didn't see David as ugly anymore. He was just David. Maybe she didn't have to do this alone. After all, David hated cities. He was born to live in the wild. She knew no matter what was to come, what awful the world made her do, David would always see her for who she was. She told David she had a plan to save the world, and David immediately offered to help Tally. She told him she thought he was the right man for the job. She's like, offer accepted. Then
you're hired.
You're hired. Then she told him her plan. That night, they flew to the edge of the city. They watched in admiration of the fireworks that were on display that night. Then Tally prepared a message, the same message that was supposed to go to Paris, Maddie, and Shay.
So she just sent it to 3 people?
Yeah, and it was like not specialized to any of them, and they all like told her completely
it was like in a group chat.
And like that's such a crazy thing to me, but like go off, Tally. I suppose. Literally, Maddie said, "Hey, if you see my son, tell him I love him," and she couldn't have been like, and then like one special one to Maddie
in a group chat, unpersonalized, copy and pasted,
and it was. In chapter 39 manifesto, and I'm just gonna read it word for word because it was literally like a page.
Okay,
that was it. That was all it was. Quote, I don't need to be cured, just like I don't need to cut myself to feel or think. Shade. From now on, no one rewires my mind but me. Back in Diego, the doctor says that I could learn to control my behavior, and I have. You all helped in one way or another. But you know what? It's not my behavior I'm worried about anymore. It's yours. That's why you won't be seeing me for a while, maybe a long time. David and I are staying out here in the wild. You all say you need us. Well, maybe you do, but not to help you. You have enough help with the millions of bubbly new minds about to be unleashed. With all the cities coming awake at last, together you're more than enough to change the world without us. So from now on, David and I are here to stand in your way. You see, freedom has a way of destroying things. You have your new smokes, your new ideas, whole new cities, and new systems. Well, we're the new special circumstances. Whenever you push too far into the wild, We'll be here waiting, ready to push back. Remember us every time you decide to dig a new foundation, dam a river, or cut down a tree. Worry about us. However hungry the human race becomes now that pretties are waking up, the wild still has teeth. Special teeth. Ugly teeth. Us. So dramatic. We'll be out here somewhere, watching, ready to remind you of the price Rusties paid for going too far. I love you all, but it's time to say goodbye for now. Be careful with the world, or the next time we meet, it might get ugly. Tally Youngblood.
It wraps up in such like, I don't know.
A dramatic. No, it's good.
Yeah, it's dramatic, and he brought a lot of the old phrases and themes back around and just tied it neat with a little bow.
It is. No, he did. He did a good job.
Yeah.
It was just dramatic, but it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. I like it.
I love the thought of like Maddie's message, or I think it was Shay. Shay said like cities all over the world like are coming to Diego. People are coming to Diego because it was like ground zero for the change. And so I imagine people from like New York or like along the East Coast or like Chicago, like traveling across the country to get to Diego. I think that's so cool.
I do think it's cool, but I do think like eventually I hope that they spread back out. And
because
yeah,
Tally's gonna be there with like don't do
ready
it.
to fuck some shit up. No, and I don't even mean that. Like I just mean like, maybe they don't go back to their own cities. Like maybe they go to other cities to experience new things, like the way that we do now. But I really think like as long as they're able to control, like I don't think that there would be a problem as long as they're able to control like reproduction. Like that's the biggest population control. Mm-hmm. Like if they just let people just like completely like breed wildly, like it's gonna get back to the way that it was before. That's 100% going to happen. But if they have like proper birth control and things and such, and like make sure that people are prepared to know what they're getting into when they want to have babies, and like, you know, and some families maybe want to have more babies than others, and like those things are just like those things are what's paid attention to. Like I don't think that there should be any issues.
Yeah,
there shouldn't be expansion issues because what would be the purpose? Like,
what are you expanding for?
They don't need space or room. They have plenty of cities to house plenty of people. Mm-hmm. So I think if they stayed on top of that, like everything should be okay.
Yeah, it's interesting.
But if they don't, then obviously, it could absolutely get out of control.
Will repeat itself.
Yeah, I think that that's my 2 cents about it.
What's your quote of the week?
Oh, I have 2.
Okay.
Say
them both.
I have, "You're not alone, Tally. Don't pretend that you are."
That was my first one.
I'm obsessed with us. And then, "I love you all, but it's time to say goodbye for now. Be careful with the world, and the next time we meet, it might get ugly."
Love that.
What's your second one?
"It doesn't take much convincing to make someone believe they're better than everyone else."
Oh, I like that one too. Ooh, that's a good one.
And then I have a third one. "Oh, she carried a knife inside of herself now, one that was always cutting her. She could feel it every time she swallowed, every time her thoughts strayed from the splendor of the wild." I feel like that's just like a good representation of grief.
I agree.
You know, for some people, everyone grieves different. Who would you be?
I would be probably one of the runaways that Tally like zoomed past
that were
when she was on her board.
Started
like,
a fire.
Hey, yeah. You're going too fast.
That's a good one. Also, you started a fire.
Hey.
That's a good one. I said maybe the middle pretty that chewed Tally out when she jumped out of the helicopter and landed on the slide walk. Or one of the pretties in Diego that chose to keep the lesions.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that yet.
Or that would be who I'd want to be. I put Fausto for who I would want to be.
Oh, who I'd want to be?
Yeah, let's get there.
Oh my God, that's so tough. Ooh. I mean, probably listen, I do think that I would not have the lesions in Diego. I'd be in Diego, but I'd be one of the people with the morphological, like.
You'd be like, I was going to say skin tennis. Flash tattoos everywhere.
I wouldn't have flash tattoos, no, and I wouldn't have anything. I don't think I'd have anything crazy, but I just think that like anything crazy is just like changing your skin color, like adding freckles.
You just get like long red hair.
Yeah, like I would just do something like, you know, maybe like cool in my standard, but I wouldn't do anything over the top. But I would be like one of the people in Diego, like living my life to the fullest.
Hell
with probably a complete mind, because why not? Like
at this point, we've already done the bubblehead thing.
I think I'd only want to be a bubblehead with other bubbleheads. I don't think I could be a bubblehead in a world with people are not bubbleheads, because
I would feel
it'd be too much.
Embarrassed the whole time.
Exactly.
I could be embarrassed to be a bubblehead.
Yeah, I could be a bubblehead in a world with other bubbleheads, but like not where there's no bubbleheads. That's too much.
That's a good point.
It's far too much.
Yeah, I picked Fausto, who I'd want to be, because I feel like he's always there. He's always on the right side. He's MVP.
He's amazing. He's just someone I'd want to be with. How is no one wanting to date that man? He's perfect.
Favorite character in the whole book?
Fausto. No, I'm just that's such a tough one.
I picked the Smokies as a whole.
Yeah.
Because they fucking did it. They revolutionized the world.
You know what? I'm going to say.
I love that.
I do like the Smokies, but I have a couple. So like we haven't heard a fucking thing from him, but I stand by Croy, 10 toes down.
Yeah,
I stand by Fausto.
Croy? Yeah.
I would say the combination of Fausto, Tax, Ho, and Croy are like they made the series for me.
We need a spinoff
in different times. Yeah.
Of them just like bonding.
Yeah.
Being friends.
I think that they would all be so close too. Yeah. I love them all.
I love that. Least favorite character?
Dude, in this book specifically, like I still have to say Shay.
Yeah.
She's just so selfish, like beyond repair. Yeah. I just don't think she'll ever change, because she thinks she is so much more superior than everyone else. Even without the fucking...
Before the special surgery.
Before and after being cured.
Yes. I remember in Pretty's Part 2, I just listened to that episode, and I said Shay will be my villain next book.
Yeah, I remember. Yes.
Yeah, and she is. So I picked Shay. She was insufferable through the first half, and then Tally was kind of insufferable in the second half. Like, I just wanted her to... I guess I didn't really understand why she wouldn't just want to be cured.
Oh, that was annoying.
With everyone else.
Well, now that we get the understanding of like why or whatever, like I do kind of get it now. And like I do think it's annoying that she never did get cured, but I kind of like the idea of the fact that like she never needed to be. Like she could overcome it her own.
Always able to think her way out of that.
And I'm sorry, like I'm not trying to be a bitch, but that does make her better than everyone else.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's like a question of, is that something that only she can do, or is that something that people can learn?
I wonder.
Yeah.
I think it is something that people can learn, because I think it's a representation of how people overcome any kind of
mental...
and like those types of behavioral things, like superiority and like rage and those sorts of things, like how people are able to overcome it.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
But also she's kind of a badass for being ahead of the curve. Like she is infamous. I'm obsessed.
I do love Tally.
It was annoying in the moment when like Fausto was trying to cure it. Like that was
just do it. Just get it done.
Yeah. I
Go
agree.
Under. But yeah.
But looking back, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, now she's out there being the only person in the world that cares about the trees and stuff. And the bears.
The trees and stuff.
And the rivers. What do you rate this book?
I would say like a 4.2.
Ooh, 4.2.
I thought the ending was going to be something that I didn't like. And, you know, I'm not thrilled about Zane dying. I'm not thrilled about how we ended up with David and Tally together somehow. But everything else was just like so good.
Yeah. I did like it. I'm going to give it a 3.9.
The same as the second?
I don't know. I don't remember.
It was the same as the second.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm fine
fair
with
enough.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they tied everything up well. It was fun seeing like Diego. It was fun seeing a new city. And why didn't we ever get the name of Tally City? That's so frustrating.
It was just Tally City.
Yeah.
She's like the owner.
I hate that.
Hi, I'm the owner of this house.
He must have taken note. Oh, Sarah J. Maas must have taken notes from him.
From Scott.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Oh, Scott. It was named. Its name is actually Addle. Seattle.
Addle.
Addle.
Just take the first part off.
Addle.
Addle.
It's
I'm from
Addle.
Addle. Where are you
My
from?
town name is actually Addle.
I'm from
Addle. That's what it is.
I'm from San.
I'm from San. We actually live in C.
Drop the wrong half.
We live in C.
We live in C.
What town is from the town C?
Yeah. Do you know? Oh, the C town? No.
No, you know not C?
No.
That's so crazy. Love C.
Love C.
Love me some C.
That's funny. Okay.
All right.
All right. That's it. That was the
That's it.
series. Oh my gosh. I think it holds up. A lot of people are slamming it on TikTok, but like, fuck you.
I think people are slamming the movie, not the books.
No, I did see one that was like, if you saw the movie like on Netflix and you thought you might do a reread, don't.
Oh,
Save yourself.
that's interesting.
It was intense.
That's crazy.
I know.
I think it's good. I think it's very good. I don't think
Yeah.
it's as good as Hunger Games. I think I'd rank Hunger Games higher.
For sure. Yeah.
But I think
There's
it's still good.
Yeah, I think it's good for the time that it was written and for like for a young adult dystopian.
I think Scott Westerfeld is a great writer. I just wish he would have pushed it more. I wish he would have made it more like the Hunger Games. I think is better because it's more like dangerous.
Yeah,
you
if we
feel
get like
the
a more
danger.
like adult version, like maybe it could still be 16, but we could see like
But Hunger
the
Games is young
reproductive-
adult and it still goes there.
yeah.
And I
'cause
just
there's
wish
like
it-
11-year-olds in the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I just wish it would have went there. Like
Yeah.
even when he talks about death, like the only time he ever confronts death is with Zane. Everything else is like consumed by the wild or like like you say, like it's
Going
just casual or like it's all very like it's all very distanced. And I wish he just would have confronted it head on.
Yeah.
And just been very realistic about how those things kind of just
happen
like are
and affect characters. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That would be interesting. That would be so good.
It would be really good.
Gosh.
But other than that, I don't really have a ton of criticism for
Yeah, it
Mr.
was good.
Scott,
It's
Mr.
fun.
Westerfeld.
Loved it. We're here for it.
I'm here for it.
Next week, we're doing Haunting Adeline, like we talked about, through chapter 21.
Oh, I'm nervous. I gotta find the fucking book somewhere.
Yeah,
Jesus
it's like,
Christ.
it is on Kindle Unlimited if you're subscribed to that. But I don't know if it's going to be like in your local library because it's super dark.
I'm scared.
We'll figure it out. Thank you guys so much for listening. Please rate and review 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and go ahead and throw it on Spotify.
Yes.
If you have any fan art or fanfic, send it to us. We want to see it. We want to read it.
Yeah. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at litlibationspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and we will see you, oh my gosh, next week for our first October episode, Haunting Adeline.
Yeah. If you have any costume suggestions, let us know.
Yeah, for rock, paper, scissors, because that's probably all
What will be.
we're here for.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be fun, though. Okay.
All right.
We have some ideas.
Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.